and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. My name is Adam Cook, your host. As always, it's a bit of a special episode, and you're probably thinking, oh wow, yeah, it is. It's the 300th episode. That's actually not why it's a special episode, and I will explain that when I've introduced our guest this week, but it's E3 week, and by beautiful happenstance, our podcast published day is Wednesday, which is after all the press conferences, so you get to hear all of our opinions in one huge podcast. We don't have to eke it out over a week or do daily podcasts. All I'm saying is it's worked beautifully, and working beautifully with me is Chris White.
Hello.
Gary Bailey.
Hello.
You right there, Gaz? You sort of a bit quiet, mate. You sure you're okay?
I
know Resident Evil was announced, so...
Yeah, I'm saving it.
Okay. And of course, Nicola Ardon is here with us to chat about games, Nicola. So what we're going to do... Oh, good. Sorry, I didn't even answer you. I'm so excited. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the conferences as they happened, give or take some... I've tried to get the stuff on my list in the order that they happened, but, you know, we'll talk about everything. Not everything in huge detail, but that's because there's not detail to talk about. Now, before we do get on with it, the 300th episode thing, should be making a big deal about that. Very simple reason that we're not. Bit of housekeeping. It's not actually the 300th episode. It's the 300th numbered episode, but there are episodes that haven't got numbers. There are some episodes we lost from way back when we first ever did a podcast, like the first year the site existed, in a server move. I hope that they are stored somewhere safely. We lost them off of the list, basically. It's not episode 300, so I don't know why I'm making a big deal out of it. Still, 300 is a big number. Big numbers are... No, I have no segue. Let's just talk about EA.
It's got 3 in it. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just talk about EA. EA kick things off because they do... Well, they don't... It's a strange thing because EA aren't really doing E3. They're doing EA Play, their own thing, which is before E3 officially starts. They kick things off, and the kind of will they, won't they thing, where there was a rumour that they were doing it, and then they said, we're trying it out, but we're not so sure. They are doing it. Battlefield 5 or Battlefield V Royale. Battlefield Royale is happening, and I'm going to go straight to Nicola because I think of all of the people here, apart from myself who'll be interested in a Battlefield game, I mean Chris is as well, we'll get Chris's opinion, but I'm looking forward to the Battlefield Royale. Nicola, how are you feeling about Battlefield Royale?
I'm not sure. Okay. And I'll tell you for why. First of all, the more I play of these Battle Royale modes, the more I'm coming to the conclusion that they're not my bag. Right. Now, it was when I was playing H1Z1 that I kind of came to this conclusion, really, that I just wasn't enjoying that game at all. I felt that there was a number of things wrong with it. Now, the idea of a Battle Royale mode with the shooting element that Battlefield has is interesting to me, because as much as I, after just saying I don't really like Battle Royale modes, as much as I enjoy playing PUBG, the shooting is wonky as hell in that. And the idea of having a game that you know, the bread and butter of that game is the shooting and the guns in it is interesting to me, in the same way that I guess that a Call of Duty style Battle Royale could be of interest. But I don't know, because Battlefield's very much squad based, isn't it? And I just...
Yeah, but if they, because assuming it's 1v100, well, you know, 100 people, wouldn't that actually be a downgrade? Because didn't they do 64v64? Or was it 32 versus 32? I can't actually remember. But they do high numbers already, Battlefield, don't they?
In one, I'm sure it's 32.
Yeah, I'm sure they've had a 64v64, or unless I'm thinking it's 64 because it's 32 times 32.
Was it not 64 on Battlefront?
Do you know, I genuinely can't remember. I'm sure, because once upon a time there was a thing where on console the number was halved and on PC it was the full thing. I mean, it doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is whereas Call of Duty are sort of going to have to... Well, we actually don't know, I don't think, at this point, whether it's 100 thing, but I mean, the assumption of Battle Royale is 100. But Battlefield, it's not that big of a leap. Chris, you loved Battlefield 1. We know Battlefield V, I'm going to call it Battlefield 5 for safety, is going to have... like the war stories the same way the first game, Battlefield 1, did. How are you? We won't spend much longer on Battlefield, but how are you feeling?
I'm looking forward to playing Battlefield 5, but I'm more looking forward to that for the story mode. Like the Battlefield Online has always been. I mean, Battlefield 4 was excellent. Like that was some of the best kind of online multiplayer I've seen in first person games.
Yeah.
But Battle Royale mode, I'm kind of with Nick on this. I'm not fussed about it. I'll certainly play it, and it could do something that the others haven't. But
I'm a bit surprised they didn't really sort of kick Call of Duty in the teeth and go on about how, we've got a story mode. Do you know what I mean? I haven't seen...
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I kind of wish they just hadn't bothered with a Battle Royale mode. And they should have just stuck to what they'd done well with the first one. Just kind of make the multiplayer better than it was, and it was already fantastic in Battlefield 1. And just focus more on the story mode, and maybe incorporate like future episodes for the story, which Battlefield 1 didn't do, which I thought it might was include new stories as DLC. But yeah, it's kind of a thing now, isn't it? Battle Royale, everyone's going to do it.
It's definitely a thing.
You know, it'll do well, I think. But yeah, I'm more interested in the story at this point.
Okay, well, Gary, we've got some Star Wars news for you, but before we get to it, they also announced that FIFA 19. I mean, we knew this. This is the official reveal. So FIFA normally would have been announced by now. FIFA, we'd normally have had someone at an event, usually like Stamford Bridge or somewhere in London, a football ground where you go and play the game. They didn't this year because the World Cup add-on for Ultimate Team was out. So it's kind of extended the life of FIFA 18, meaning FIFA 19. They've got to announce it. It's coming out in September. It's actually coming out a full month later than PES, but it's taken the Champions League license from PES, and I don't know. I don't want to. Again, there's people who don't like sport or don't like football, so I don't want to go on and on about it. But it's just a weird situation because I think all of us would, whether you like football or not, are not big fan of like this kind of exclusivity. And I think it goes on more in football games than it does anywhere else, where it's literally like EA is saying, "Hey, Mr. Champions League, I will offer you X million if you only let us put your thing in our game." And I will say I don't think the blame is on EA for doing that because they're a business. I think the responsibility is on the person in control of those licenses to turn around like the NBA do and say, no, I want this in all the football games or all the NBA games because that's best for the fans. And I feel like, Chris, you'll know more than I do, but I feel like in the NBA, whether you're playing live or 2K18 or 2K19 or whatever, the teams are the teams, the players are the players, the stadiums are the stadiums. There's none of this, we've got Chicago Bulls in ours and you haven't. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, they constantly update the rosters every week. So every team has the same updated roster, same stadium, same coaches, everything. It's just FIFA and PES, the only sports game that does that.
Just before E3, there was an announcement from Borussia Dortmund, BVB, who actually said we have, because they were one of the teams licensed to PES. They in the way that Liverpool are, they've got this fully licensed stadium. It looks amazing. They actually announced that they had terminated their agreement with PES early, and they are going with FIFA, which is weird because Dortmund were in FIFA. They weren't exclusive. Like PES doesn't have I think they will have this year some exclusive leagues, but Dortmund were in FIFA. The only thing that wasn't was the stadium. And to me, I feel like Dortmund are sticking two fingers up at their fans because they were in both games.
Yeah.
And now they're not going to be in PES. And regardless, I suppose that's not really what we're talking about, but EA, they're going to have to make some changes because of loot boxes, but the Champions League stuff is good for people who play FIFA, who didn't have it soon. I'm interested to see how they do it. The Journey is going to be, they call it the final episode of the Journey, the story mode, which is going to have access to the Champions League in it. There's going to be new commentary because of the Champions League. It's good for FIFA, but bad for PES. Speaking of good, well, it's not good for FIFA, but good for PC gamers, Origin Access Premier is coming to PC. Basically, EA Access on Xbox One currently, I think it's actually quite a good deal. I don't know if you guys would agree with that.
Yeah, very.
Me, not so much, because I'm not into the sports games.
No, and it is a lot of sports, I suppose. But I will say they've been doing good stuff. Like, I'm trying to think what it was recently. They've added, was Skate, I think. They added, was Black an EA game?
Yeah.
I got a funny feeling that was, yeah. They added that. They've added, a lot of backwards compatible stuff, like original Xbox. But this, it's coming to PC, which is great news. I kind of wish it would come to PS4. I think it's, and I'd love it if you're, they could make it so that if you have an account with EA Access on Xbox, you also have one on PlayStation. I mean, it's never going to happen, doesn't matter. Battlefront 2, Gary.
Yep.
What's going on? I missed this bit.
To be fair,
Clone Wars DLC.
Yeah, the only thing I care about is it's got General Grievous coming into it, and
Okay.
yeah, I love General Grievous, and if I can play as him, I'd be tempted to go back and play a bit more Battlefront 2, because
I mean, look, I'm not trying to do Battlefront a disservice, but we've talked a lot about Battlefront. I know, Nicola, you enjoyed it. I know Gary enjoyed it. I think Chris enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah,
I haven't played it properly, but I think everyone I know's played it, enjoyed it.
I played it again recently, actually. It's good.
Yeah, it's been updated a lot, but the big news here was not delivered in a big news way, because they talked to the chap from Respawn who just basically casually, we knew they were doing it, but he's basically dropped in that, the people behind Titanfall are making Jedi Fallen Order. Hyped?
No,
yeah.
not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay.
Someone just saying, yeah, I'm making this game, just...
excuse me, Gary, it's not
Yeah,
someone.
it's Respawn.
It's Respawn.
I don't care.
Gary,
Whoever it is...
don't make me come down there.
Whoever it is, they just say, oh, I'm making a game. It's just like, that means nothing to me.
I think they, like Ninja Theory and like other developers, have earned the sort of kudos to be able to say, we're doing that, and you go, okay. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, it's going to be 10 out of 10, but like, I enjoy the Star Wars films. I'm not on a level that yourself and Chris are, but I am a big fan of Respawn. Let's remember who Respawn were before they were Respawn as well.
Mm-hmm.
These are the guys who are responsible for, I don't want to over-egg it and say popularising a shooter, because that's not quite fair on everyone else, but sort of. And like Titanfall 2, the only thing is that I think there were people maybe hoping a Titanfall 3 announcement would come.
Why? Because nobody bought that. I'm still cross about this, Adam.
Yep.
I'm still side-eyeing anybody who didn't buy Titanfall 2.
I've read rumour. Yeah, I know it's like a £5 now. I saw it as an offer for £5. In fact, no, what was it?
You can
It was Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 for £10, wasn't it? That is disgusting.
I bought that deal, despite the fact that I own Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1 already. I bought it because... I have Battlefield on the Xbox, and obviously I already have Titanfall 2 on the PlayStation. But I was like, it's insanely good. It was like $11.99 for all the DLC in Battlefield 1 as well, plus all the premium content for Titanfall 2. I was like, that's an insane deal.
I didn't know it came with the DLC, because I don't have the Battlefield 1 DLC. I might see if that's still available.
I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 1. In fact, I've gone from 0 to like rank 40 in the space of like a week, because I've been obsessed with playing Battlefield 1. But that's a different story. But yeah, I'm going to reserve judgment on the actual Star Wars element of this, but I am very excited that Respawn are putting out another game. And if it's,
I only worry that it's they're making that instead of Titanfall. Like you said, it's kind of tough titties in it, because like you said, no one bought it, so if that's what they're doing, then people will buy Star Wars. It doesn't matter. If they, that's the thing. You can make a bad Star Wars game, it will sell more than anyone else.
And can you imagine? Oh my God! Can you imagine the shooting? I'm already salivating, because if it's anything like Titanfall 2, the way the guns work, oh my God, I'm going to be in heaven.
The only thing that kind of intrigues me about this is if it's going to be almost like a new Jedi Knight game.
Do you know that as soon as I saw the bit Jedi, I was like, wait, are they making a third-person game? Because that's where my head went as well, Jedi Knight. Which I Gaz, I like them.
Oh, the Jedi Knight games are stunning. I love all of them. If this ended up basically being the next Jedi Knight game, then I'll be all over it. I need to know more than just we're making this game for me to be really bothered about it.
I'll tell you a game we do know stuff about, because it was the first of only 2 I can think of, and it's available now. Unravel 2, and that is TWO. It's spelt 2. Anyway, is out now. Chris, have you played any of it yet?
Yeah,
I know you're on it.
About halfway through.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like it, Adam. It's not one of the best games I've played. Like it's better than the first. It's not reaching, your 8s and your 9s by any means, but it's actually...
So the email they sent with the code for review was that it basically said, hey, we've listened to the fact the first game was a bit grim, and we've made this all a bit more sort of happy and friendly. Is that... And is that fair?
I think it's... I don't know if it's happy or friendly. I think it's still quite dark. Like it's not the story that's kind of tethered throughout isn't as heavy going or anything, but it's still a bit kind of. It's not all smiles, let's put it that way. But in terms of like, it's visually like it's incredible, and the different like locations that you go into are so well designed, and the fact that you can either control two yourself or you can play with someone else is a nice little feature. And is it
online co-op or just local?
Well, I've only played it local.
Okay.
So,
but you can play it single player too, right? You can control both, I guess.
As I say, I've played most of the game single player.
What's the other guy's name? So it's Yanni and...
I've no idea. I don't think it doesn't say.
So it's stuck with you then, this game so far? It's moved you clear.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's some smart puzzles. It's not amazing, but it's a lot better than the first one.
Sea of Solitude coming after the Unravel 2 thing is kind of... Because Unravel was an EA Originals, then we had A Way Out, and we also had Fey, or Fee. We never did get to the bottom of it, but this is, I guess, the next EA Originals. Sea of Solitude, we got a trailer for that. Much to say about that?
I thought it was about the only interesting thing EA really showed, to be honest.
Oh, that surprises me quite a lot.
Really?
Because of a game we haven't got to yet. But, okay, Well, I'll just quickly blast through. Yeah, I mean, I'll blast through 2 announcements. NBA Live 19 is coming. Fair enough. I mean, I would say it's an obvious one, but they kind of have been on off with that game. But it's started to get its roots back in, so that's it's good. Competition's good. Madden NFL 19 is coming to PC, which is interesting because that hasn't. I don't think has it ever been a PC game, Madden?
I don't think so. Last year, I think it was just Xbox and PS4.
Yep, it's always been console. Command & Conquer was a PC game, but Command & Conquer Rivals is now a mobile game.
Wankers.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, wankers. Like I will, of course, I'll play it on my phone, but I really
they're the wankers, but you're playing it. Okay.
Yeah, typical games fan. I just obviously we all love the originals, especially Red Alert, and I just thought, oh my god, we're going to get to play it on the consoles, and it was going to have some fantastic little elements of multiplayer and stuff, and then it gets announced for phones, and I just don't want it to be locked behind content like so many are, and I just like the idea of doing the FMV on the consoles and just playing it as an old game like the old ones used to be, but they did us over.
And EA finished their press conference, obviously their press briefing with EA's Destiny, Anthem. Anthem is coming in February 2019. I joke, I think this looks good. I do think this looks good, and then you sort of have to think about it and go, oh yeah, it's because it's so Destiny looking, you forget BioWare are doing it. I feel like the temperature of the room is I don't think it was presented well. Apparently there's a video that came out later, but I feel like I'm the only one in this room that's like, oh, I want to play this.
I want to play it, don't get me wrong, I want to play it, and I've seen a few bits on it that have got me interested. In particular, somebody was talking about, after they'd been to the press conference, they then go and play bits of the games, don't they? He was talking about the way that the flight and hover works when you're actually fighting, and the way that he was describing that got me really interested, because I know this isn't going to be the same kind of game as Mass Effect Andromeda, but one of the things I really, really, really liked about Mass Effect Andromeda was the combat in it. I thought that they'd done a great job in turning that into something quite special, and one of my favourite ones was a hover. So this idea of having, like the vertical and the horizontal kind of fighting stuff, it gets me kind of a bit interested, to be honest. So I am interested in it from that perspective. Plus it looks good. But I'm just kind of a bit like, what is it? I guess that's why I'm a bit lukewarm on it at the moment, because I'm not entirely clear what it is. Because I can't escape the feeling it looks like an MMORPG. It just looks like that. And I don't know if I want that. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I mean, they've said there's no romance in this, which does suggest it's more MMO than RPG. If you know what I mean, it's more Destiny than it is BioWare. I don't know. I think it's. I do think it's something. I have to play it because like the movement. As you said, I've read something somewhere as well that suggests that there's weight to the movement and the flying is good. And I don't know. I mean, Gaz, you're a big BioWare fan.
Yep, it looks alright.
Bloody hell!
It's not Dragon Age 4 though, is it, Adam?
No, it's not, mate. Because that game's not been announced.
I'm not going to stop with that because it's not Dragon Age 4, and that's
right. But
all
here's
I
the question
wanted.
for you. Here's the question for you, right? BioWare, rightly or wrongly, we've discussed this on the podcast, and we don't need to go over it again because anyone who's listened for a long time knows how we mostly feel about Mass Effect Andromeda. However, I think if they announced 2 games and we're working on them concurrently, and one's out in 2019 and one's out in, say, late 2019, I think people would start to go, oh, yeah, taking on too much there. It's going to be an Andromeda thing. Again, regardless of what you think of Andromeda. And I think they have to be a bit careful. And I do personally think they're under a lot of pressure. I think EA will... I'm not saying they would shut BioWare, but they fucking might because they don't want flops. They clearly don't want flops.
I think if it doesn't...
It does need to do well.
BioWare
Is that why Respawn are doing a Star Wars game? Because, hey, we know you're good. You did Titanfall, but hey, no one bought it, so you do a Star Wars game. Do as you're told. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, before we move on to Microsoft, Anthem? Oh, fucking hell. What's happened here?
It didn't really do a lot for me.
Okay. I really don't think the presentation helped.
No.
Like, it was a weird Q&A thing that is not a... I don't know.
Until I get to play it, my opinion might change, but yeah, it didn't really do much for me in the way it was presented. So
I need to see.
Okay.
More. I need to see.
Okay.
More
Well, look. Let's grade it. Let's grade it. I didn't tell you guys we were doing this, but out of let's go out of 10. No, yeah, let's go out of 10. EA's press conference, press briefing, presser, whatever you want to call these things. Fanfare. I don't know. Gary, I've stalled long enough that you should have been able to come up with a number out of 10 for EA.
6.
Oh.
Okay. What was that?
I went because I was going to.
Oh, I thought you said 4.
No.
Go on. Chris, go next then.
I was going to go for 6 as well.
I think. Okay. Nicola?
I was going to go 6 as well.
Okay.
Just shows how in tune we all are.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I'm going to go 5.
That's
So.
probably the only time we're going to be in tune in this podcast.
I'll be honest, right? Yeah, I think. I think. Look, I won't spoil it. The reason I've gone a little bit lower is because I don't want to go into depth on this, but I really feel like EA are... Well, not EA, but the people behind FIFA are kind of systematically trying to dismantle pairs by basically going, what have they got that we haven't? We'll buy it. And I don't like it. And I couldn't quite... Because I play both games, so I couldn't quite celebrate the Champions League stuff like everyone else did. And a lot of the Star Wars stuff felt a bit flat. I didn't like Unravel, the first game. And... It's kind of just Anthem and Battlefield for me. So like, I thought Command & Conquer, it's all right. So there. Microsoft. Then, wow. So for the first 5 games, I honestly thought, has someone designed a conference just for me? So they announced they started with Halo Infinite. And a new engine, the Slipspace engine.
Yeah, can we talk about
We don't really know what it is.
Can we just talk about this? Because
what is it, though?
That's some gigantic size bollocks, I think. Because that wasn't a Halo tease. That was the Slipspace engine tease.
I will say, my youngest son was watching this with me, and he went, my God, this looks amazing. What's this? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I think there was... As they walked through the desert, there was kind of Halo-looking geometry, and I was like, I think this might be Halo. And he goes, oh, I might play this. This looks really amazing. And then it was like it carried on, and he's like, wow, this is like real life. And I was just sitting there enjoying it, and he sort of went, I think I'm going to play this game. So as an engine demonstration to an 11-year-old boy who has played a bit of Halo but has no attachment to Halo, I know what you're saying, but from the other perspective, I don't know.
That game's nowhere near ready.
No.
Nowhere near ready.
No, that's no. But what have they been doing then? Is there a Halo 6?
They're building a new engine. That's what they've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
I think they've basically took stock because they've gone. Look, people didn't get on with Halo 5, or at least the multiplayer they did.
Oh, okay, all right.
The story, which is the big point of Halo, people just didn't care.
But was it last week, Gary, on the podcast, or I can't remember, we've done so much talking recently, but was it last week where you said literally people just would want to play as the Master Chief?
Yep.
That's what people want from a Halo. And like, if you're going to keep doing Halos, play as the Master. That's what no one wants. Was it last week's podcast?
Possibly.
Someone has said that to me, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
it was definitely me, but I think it might have been last week because it was like the pre-E3 thing. Possibly.
But they showed off this amazing engine, no in-game footage. We don't know how it runs in-game, but it's certainly capable of rendering. Yeah. And I will say again, not trying to be sort of Microsoft Defense Force here, people have said about what they need is a game that looks as good as Sony's stuff. So they kind of, whereas Horizon Zero Dawn's got, I forget the name of the engine, but they've got that. Yeah. And they've got the Decima engine for like the Kojima game, Death Stranding. They do sort of need a showcase to say, hey, you know, we said they got that massively powerful console, the strongest one on the market. Look at what we can do with this engine.
Yeah.
But then to go from that to a game, I think, as bizarre as it sounds, looks a million times better. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is, you would expect to look good because of the first one. This is the game I would hang my hat on whenever anyone argues that Microsoft when people say Microsoft have got no games. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Ori and the Blind Forest was one of... I would put that game on the pedestal with Bloodborne as one of the best games of this generation. And they did nothing to promote it. They had this amazing console exclusive. They released it twice and fucked it up both times. But Ori and the Will of the Wisps looks amazing. Am I alone?
No, it looks awesome.
No.
I mean,
It's great.
We can talk about how shit I am at Ori. But no, it does. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and they look like some new little mechanics in there. I don't know whether I want to say unfortunate or not, but it's next year. And another game that is next... Now this one, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Now we had the teaser for Shadows Die Twice last year sometime.
Yeah.
So this is, there's no getting away from it, a Souls game from FromSoft, published by Activision. Which is a big surprise. But
and
it does seem
at a
like
Microsoft conference.
and shown at a Microsoft. But it does seem like all these publishers are going, oh, I want a slice of that pie. Hey, if we pay you lots of money, will you make it one of your games for us? It looks amazing. Mm-hmm. And again, at this point, I'm sat here going, holy shit, someone's made a conference just for little old me. It looks... Again, they're going to show the best it can show. You know, it's not going to be like that all the time, but there's some seriously cool shit going on in that trailer, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what they'll do beyond like the normal Souls gameplay. Because let's face it, the Bloodborne included, they all play very similarly. So this one looks like there's a lot more verticality to it, and you know, with the kind of the grappling arm. So
yeah, that looked cool, didn't it? The grappling arm.
Yeah. And there were horses in it. There was a lot of games with samurais that they're all starting to blend now. But
there were horses, definitely horses, Adam.
Definitely rideable mounts of some description.
It looks like Onimusha.
That's exactly what.
That has me.
Oh, Gary, you've got me excited there. That's exactly when it started showing. I was going, oh, is this Onimusha? Is this Onimusha?
Yeah, and then we'll never see Onimusha.
I was disappointed, but then I thought, oh, this looks good.
And then when you realise who I was the same. I was like, oh, it's not Onimusha. And then I realised who was doing it. I was like, oh, okay, I'm back in. Moving on, they showed and they confirmed. I mean, people keep saying it's been delayed. I don't think you can delay a game that's never had a release date. But Crackdown 3 is coming in February, I think they said, next year.
Yeah.
Now, as the world's number one Crackdown fan, I don't think that looked like a very good... Well, the trailer... I don't think it looked great.
No.
It was a Terry Crews advert. It wasn't the Crackdown trailer. It's a Terry Crews advert.
But ignore the Terry Crews and the actual visuals.
No, it didn't look great.
I think it looked actually rough. Like I thought, for a minute, I thought it was last year's trailer.
I wasn't impressed.
Look, the game looks like it could be fun. But at this point, this game's becoming the gaming equivalent of Chinese Democracy, the Guns N' Roses album. Like, it needs to just come out now, because no matter how good it is, it will never be as good as it should be for that amount of time. Like, I will say Sumo Digital are a developer I do trust. but they can only work with what they were left with, if you will. Like, I don't know, aside from starting over, it just looks like another Crackdown. We'll see. Nier Automata.
Get me going.
Oh, sorry,
no,
go
I
on,
was just saying, Crackdown just didn't get me going at all. I mean, it was supposed to be an Xbox One launch title,
That's
wasn't
right.
it? I just think the boat sailed on Crackdown. I really do.
It massively has. Like, they should have, if they were going to keep delaying it, they should have just canned it, started again. But on the other hand, a tweet I saw, who I can't say who it was because I can't remember, but they said, given what happened with Scalebound, it's kind of nice that they are sticking with it and giving them time to do what they need to do. So that's something. Nier Automata coming to Xbox this month. Not much to say there.
Brilliant news.
They kind of leaked before. Brilliant news, brilliant game. More people get to play it. Shut up, Gary.
Yeah, shut up, Gary.
Metro Exodus.
That looks good.
It does, but I thought it was an odd one to show, given that it's already been delayed to next year.
Metro's so overrated.
I've never got on with them, but this one I'm hoping.
Dull.
It had a very Fallout vibe, didn't it? Though with the gun, with the customizable guns and stuff like that. I mean,
It reminded me of Homefront: The Revolution.
Oh, dear.
Because you could do that with the guns in there. Literally, you pick them up and you can sort of mod them. It was literally that, the bit where you pick the gun up and it was like chink 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 chink. It was. I thought, hang on, that looks a bit Homefronty. Oh well, I don't know.
Shooting in it,
looks
Adam.
Like
shooting. So I'm interested
but
in
I'm
it.
not. Okay. But yeah, again, I think there was a preview event. I think people have previewed it. We can't really add much to it.
There wasn't the mutant mole this time round, though, was there? There wasn't any of the big sort of mutated creatures.
I was looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, the mutant mole was amazing, wasn't it?
I missed him.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
You want him as a companion.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be cool.
Well, speaking of companions, they made a big deal, and rightly so, of the first time ever that Kingdom Hearts is coming to Xbox, and they showed Kingdom Hearts 3.
I don't get it.
We can talk about this here, or we can talk about it in the Square Enix section. I'd rather get it out of the way, because personally speaking, I've played so many of these games, and in theory, should be right up my alley. It's a JRPG made by Square Enix. It's got Disney characters in it. I should love it.
I don't get it.
Same.
And I love Disney.
I used to love.
Same.
I love the first one, and the second one was good, but because we've waited so long, it's just the excitement's just gone, and you just see like, oh great, Frozen's in it, all pirates, but
I will say,
I just don't give a shit.
I feel like, because what I've heard is the combat is more like Final Fantasy 13? What was the last one? 13. 15. Sorry, 15. And that means I'm a bit more excited because the combat was very dated in Kingdom Hearts. Like I feel like there was a problem with the trailer. It was like someone had accidentally forgotten to add the sound effects.
Yeah,
like
it was weird.
In like, as someone who does a lot of video work, the thing I noticed was like it was almost like someone had unchecked part of the audio, rendered the video, and forgot to click the button to render it back in, and they put it out and they'd just gone, shit, nobody noticed, and then at that point it's too late anyway. We then got a little bit of Sea of Thieves news, just a proof that they're supporting the game. I think three packs or 2 packs was it?
There's two, Cursed Cells and Forsaken Shores.
I will say, Nicola, I don't think they do themselves any favour with the way they presented it, because there's this whole cutscene style thing they've made before the game, and listen, I haven't played it since launch. I bet you there's none of that in the game, and it's like you're sort of it's a Microsoft thing. They did it with State of Decay. Like, they're showing this game that doesn't exist. Like, that part of the game and that would be great if there was just the odd cutscene like that in the game, I think, but that's not in the game. Unless it will be.
Well, there isn't sort of rendered cutscenes in the new... because they've added in the Megalodon, the Hungering...
I haven't played it since, but yeah.
The Hungering Deep, or whatever it is. That actually does have a little bit of a quest line that you can follow. You sail around and find clues and stuff like that. But there isn't really a rendered cutscene, so yeah, it kind of gives the impression.
Is there any voices?
Yeah.
There is voices. I couldn't remember if there was voices.
There was voices. The NPCs.
I honestly couldn't remember. But I mean, listen, we knew Sea of Thieves was going to appear because it's not been out long, and I think at least they're showing a dedication, a commitment to supporting that game.
What I didn't think came across that clear, though, is I think it's in Cursed Sails they're adding in a new boat, which can have 3 players in it, and in Forsaken Shores they're adding...
When you say 3, you mean it's specifically designed for 3 people?
For 3,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, good, that's good.
And the Brigantine or something like that, and then in the Forsaken Shores they're adding in the rowing boat. So there's some additional bits and bats. But
wait, what's a rowboat? As in you can row to shore? That's a great
put your
idea.
galleon, out to sea, and then you all get in a rowing boat and row to the island rather than having to swim.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
That didn't come through on the trailer for me. It was only
not at
after
all. The
I
first
went
time
back
hearing
and
of
had
it
a
is
look
now.
at it and read a press release and stuff that I saw all that. So yeah, they didn't. I mean, you know me. I actually love Sea of Thieves, but yeah, it didn't. The only thing I took from that really was that, this is a game that is exclusive to the platform and we are still supporting it, and here's our content plan for the next year kind of thing. But
yeah, and that's, that's fair enough. I would like to try it again now they've put the sharks in it and stuff, and
it's pretty cool.
I would like to have another go. They then showed Battlefield 5, which we've discussed, and there's nothing more to add really. And then they revealed, again, we all knew, but I think, Forza Horizon 4 looked... driving games always look good, but I have to say, everyone was talking about, it's going to be in Japan, it's going to be in Japan. As they were showing it, I'm like, this looks like Britain. Mm-hmm. This looks like... And I'm quite excited about that. Gary?
You missed the segue there, I think.
Thanks, Gary.
You could have missed out Battlefield 5 and gone from Pirates to Bring Me That Horizon. I'm disappointed.
That's not. I can do it now and edit it in if you like. But,
just edit it.
Can we just say, I think you and I are both absolutely beyond words excited for Horizon 4.
Give me
Forza Horizon 4.
As soon as I saw the cars, it was just like yes, please. I don't care. Just give me it. But,
so I have a question for you.
Go on.
The thing they mentioned, the big thing they were talking about, is the fact it's seasons, and you'll go through seasons. Now I feel like the trailer showcased that they could you could be going along in the game and click, now you're in winter. I actually think this is their attempt at making a game as a service. I think if you start playing this when it's October, it's out, isn't it? October?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes out in October, so then they'll click over to winter, and then when we get into the next year, they'll change the season in the game will change. Do you know what I mean? But it will change on a real-time clock, because I think that's a way of keeping you playing. It's games as a service.
I got the feeling that it was actually naturally going to change in game.
I think the weather can. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But you mean like
December,
stuff like the Forzathon events and stuff like that will probably change with the seasons.
Okay.
But I think the actual summer, winter, all that will change as you play, just naturally. It's just I don't know what kind of time frame it'll have on it, but
it looked bloody good though. 4K and 60 frames they said as well.
I am all over that.
You know me, I'm not really into racing games.
Not a driving game
but
fan,
I have played Forza Horizon 2 and I was pleasantly surprised by it.
Terrific game though.
And with the fact that this is going to be released in Game Pass, I think that I actually may give it a go. Because
you should, because
yeah. I thought it looked beautiful. And seeing a digitally rendered British Isles is kind of interesting to me, to be honest, just driving around.
Absolutely. Do you remember Everybody's Gone to the Rapture? That was one of the most fascinating things to me in that game, was walking around rural England, which I live in. Do you know what I mean? That we're not Somerset, but it was really interesting walking up and seeing a post box and being like, whoa, you don't see these in many games, because this is, anyway. What Forza Horizon 4 leads us neatly into is that they then, Big Phil, as he's known, announced the initiative, which is that Microsoft have put their money where their mouth is and gone, we understand you want games, so we're going to go and buy studios we think can deliver the best games. So they bought Undead Labs, who made State of Decay. Mm-hmm. They bought Playground Games, who make Forza Horizon 4. Now that's interesting, because what happens with Turn 10? Are they still... Because are Turn 10 a Microsoft studio? I think they must be, mustn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so there you go. That's Forza Horizon for the near future and long-term future. Compulsion Games, We Happy Few, and Ninja Theory.
Right, before you go ahead, you've actually... The Initiative is another studio.
I thought the Initiative was the name of the studio, the name of the thing.
That's another... They've got 5 studios.
I thought they said 5, and I couldn't find who the fucking
Initiative,
fifth one was.
It's a brand new studio. That's the one that was in Santa Monica. I think they've created it, or it's... I'm not entirely sure, but the Initiative is another studio.
Okay.
So who knows who that is?
So can we just say, Well, I can only speak for myself, but as a fan of their games, I am so pleased for Ninja Theory because they've been talking about how they struggle to find publishers for games. They've been talking about being stuck in that AA space. Well, welcome to the big boys now. You are owned by Microsoft. And quite honestly, the idea that I have to trust this on faith, that Microsoft will throw cash at those people to deliver what they can do potentially is enormously exciting to me. I'm so pleased for them because they seem to make really cool, like Ninja Theory made Hellblade, and Hellblade is not like any other game. I mean, the core elements of it are, but the idea of the whole game, the overall idea of the game is unique, I think. And they made the best Devil May Cry game, which will never now see a DMC2. So there you go. But yeah, the money where the mouth is. They've done the same with PUBG. The trailer was quite low key, but what it seemed to be suggesting to me was, hey, by the way, we're not fucking around. These updates are all coming, and they're coming way quicker than they have done in the past.
Do you know, I was watching that PUBG thing, and I was sat watching it with a friend in Mixer, and we were just going, I just wish the game actually looked like this, because it didn't look anything like it does on Xbox.
It doesn't play like that as well. Like, I turned to my son and went, like, if you're playing PUBG and you're seeing that many people, you've gone wrong. Like, you don't see 20 people at once in PUBG, not apart from the start of the game. Sorry, I've skipped over Compulsion Games' trailer for We Happy Few, which, from what I've heard, is... So what the early access thing was like this weird separate sandboxy style thing. There is a game, apparently, and it does look Bioshocky, and if they deliver on what that trailer suggests, great.
It looks interesting, but... The rumblings I've heard from the early access haven't been good, so...
No, the early access is a bad game. Like, wherever this game ends up, it has to be basically 180 degrees from what this currently game, the early access game is. It has to be complete.
They have added like 20 plus hours worth of story in, apparently, according to press.
That's what it was missing, see, Nick.
Right.
Like, this time last year when they released it into early access, you saw remember the trailer that got everyone excited? That's the beginning of the early access thing,
right.
Or the preview program thing, and then from there it's just like an open world game where you just like a it was a survival game, right. Where you have to get and it was like no, this is not what I wanted, but that does sound like it's this separate sandbox thing. The game is still being development, which they always said was the case, right. But the trailer strongly suggests that. No point dwelling on Tales of Vesperia because it's a remake of the original game. I do want to talk about The Division 2 because this is the first time we saw gameplay. Now I got a funny feeling Chris, I think, played The Division. I can't remember. But I really like The Division, and I am... Obviously it looks better, because every sequel looks better. I didn't see a huge amount of new stuff in that first reveal. There's like a thing where you can stick people. They sort of stuck someone to the ground and then they all shot him free or something. Yeah. That looked new. But even the voiceover, like the sort of, agent, you're going to have to do this. That was the same voice. The UI looked really similar. The location looks interesting. But, it's kind of one of those where I like the first one enough that I'm in anyway. But, Chris, did you actually ever play The Division?
Yeah, I remember when it came out, I dabbled with it and we had a few goes with Mick. And I really liked it, but then, as with many games, we disappear for a bit and come back to it, and you're completely lost because there's been so many updates and new stuff added, and you forget where you've been. But I'll play it because the thing is with like Ghost Recon, it was a lot of fun with friends. I mean, people, we all had a great time with Nicola, and I think
everybody has a good time with me, though, Chris. To be honest,
absolutely.
Oh god, the title of this podcast has to be E3 2018, which is a real shame, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you've already said tough titties, and I really like that. So
no, it's got to be E3 2018. It's got to be that's SEO stuff, man.
Yeah, but definitely give it a go.
So as someone who played a lot of Destiny, Nicola, the question I have to you, right, is one of the big things, we're jumping ahead to Ubisoft, but something they announced, I think it was in Ubisoft's own press conference, was that raids are coming to The Division 2.
Yeah.
8-player raids.
Yeah. Well, they were kind of raids anyway, weren't they? They were on a smaller scale.
But how would a raid work in The Division 2 in a game that's grounded in reality or semi-reality? Like... Isn't that just mean that every time you get to the end, the boss is just a guy with, 2 hours worth of armour?
Who knows? I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of The Division. I played it and I reached sort of level cap with it and did a bit of the end game. But there was something a bit grotesque about it that I didn't enjoy. And I'm not getting a good vibe from the second one. So I mean, it'll probably be something that I play because my pals are playing it. But I can't say that I'm super excited about it.
Did you play The Division like when it came out? And if so, when did you last go back to it? Because I tell you what,
I haven't.
They're one of the best. It might be worth doing so because they've changed quite a bit.
It's in Game Pass as well now, isn't it? It's in Game Pass.
Yes, that's the other thing. Yeah, I've downloaded it on Xbox, I must admit, but I play it on PS4, you see. But like they changed the game, I don't want to say significantly, but they did change a fair bit of how stuff works to the point where when I booted it up, I was a bit confused about what I was like, this doesn't seem like I remember it. So it's, but yeah, I should mention also, they did announce that this is coming to Game Pass. They also announced Fallout 4 and Tamriel Online, the Elder Scrolls. Tamriel Unlimited, the Elder Scrolls Online game. They're all in Game Pass. They actually didn't come out until 24 hours later, but they are there now, so you can go play them. Game Pass, speaking of sort of stuff like that, Halo the Master Chief is coming, along with Ashen, After Party, and Vermintide 2. Now, the reason that caught me off guard is I don't remember ever getting a date about Vermintide 2.
Is it definitely Vermintide 2 and not the first Vermintide?
Yeah, no, it's definitely Vermintide 2. And that caught me off guard because I didn't think we even had a release date for that on console yet.
Oh, I thought that was coming
it's a terrific
September.
game. Maybe I missed it, honestly. I played it on PC and think it's a terrific game, but I was wondering, Gaz, did you know?
I vaguely remember seeing something about a date, but I couldn't have told you when it was. But, I mean, that everyone should play that game.
I only thought it was September.
It's Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I only thought it was September because my pals on PS4 are mad keen for Vermintide 2. So it was one that I've got, like, my ears pricked up, and obviously I read Gary's review, and I was like, it looks okay. But I then saw Vermintide pop up in the Game Pass montage, and was like, messaged my pals and said, you're not going to believe this, because none of them have Xboxes and I like to wind them up, that it looks like Vermintide 2's coming into Game Pass. And like one of them, well, I'm buying it on PS4. And I'm like, yeah, clearly, because you don't have an Xbox. I'm actually here just being a cow.
Meanwhile, you'll just enjoy it for free.
I'm just being a cow. But and then I kind of like went and rewatched the montage and went, surely Vermintide 2's not going to be in Game Pass. Surely it must be the first one.
Yeah, no, it definitely was 2.
Wow.
No, it was definitely 2.
Okay.
But like, then they did like a montage, a trailer, which the trailer that is available now is not the one they showed because there's games in there they showed separately, which is why I've omitted them. But I'm going to run down the list of games just purely because they said 50 games. Gary, I know there's one you'll want to stop me on, but there's one I'd want to stop on.
We all know.
Yeah, and there's one for me as well, but I've got nothing to say about it because it was just a short trailer. So, Idea Xbox, Outer Wilds, After Party, Kingdom 2 Crowns, The Golf Club with PGA Tour, Vermintide 2, Fringe Wars, Below, Conqueror's Blade, Waking, Children of Morta, Raji, Super Meat Boy Forever, Planet Alpha, Generation Zero, Sable, Bomber Crew, Harold Halibut, great name, Black Desert, Islands of Nine, NYNE, Battle Royale, The Wind or Wind Road, I'm not sure actually.
Wind Road, I thought.
Wind Road, yeah, because wind makes no sense in English in that sentence, does it? Anyway, Wargroove, Totem Teller, Dead Cells, Hooray, and Ashen. Lots of games coming via the independent sort of developers. They showed Shadow of Tomb Raider, which looks like a Tomb Raider game.
Yep. That's about it.
Bit of a shock. I maintain what I said about that game, I think a few weeks ago. I think they've got a real Herculean effort PRing that game, Square Enix, because if you like those series, which I know myself and Nicola do, I think Chris and Gary enjoyed them too.
I loved the
Rise
the
was incredible. The reboots are probably my favourite Tomb Raider games.
But the way they've handled just the unveiling of this has put me right off, though.
Well,
I just think
to me it's more that how do you sell that game, because it looks the same as all the others, so you're either going to buy it or you're not. We probably all are, but what about it? To me, it looks like Tomb Raider via Apocalypse Now. Like, I really get a Colonel Kurtz vibe from Lara in this game, and I don't know that that's a good look at all.
It did worry me, because it's like, here, we'll show you this game, and it's all killing. I'm like, nobody asked for more combat.
No, the combat is good in the reboots, but I love the tombs.
Yeah, it's like everyone has been saying, with every single one, has been, I want more tombs. and I want tomb raiding, and she's like, yeah, all right, we're listening, promise. And it's like, here, have some combat. Like, we don't fucking want that.
We're moaning about it, but we're all probably going to buy this. It's weird because it's a game. I loved those reboots, loved them, but this game, in my mind's eye, it sits on a shelf. It's like, I'll definitely play it day one, and so it's kind of like, just forget about it till then. Because, although I will say the interesting thing is that Eidos Montreal are developing it with support from
Crystal Dynamics,
right? Which kind of assumes that Crystal D are doing the Avengers game. Where the hell is that game? We all thought, it'll be at Square's. It wasn't. No. It'll be at Sony's. It wasn't. Where is that game?
I wonder what's going on with that.
I mean, it's a difficult game to make because in terms of canon, those movies come out at such a clip. How the bloody hell do you fit it in?
I wonder if maybe they'll do it next year and they'll kind of tie it into the new Avengers.
Unless it's going to tie into like when the next generation, not of games, of like after Infinity War 2 or whatever they call it.
Well, that's what I mean,
and they go to
You put it with
so
that, you're kind of they're going to be introducing essentially the next generation of Avengers. So why not kind of stick it in with that? But I don't know.
Well,
I guess we'll have to wait.
Are they not tying it in with Spider-Man and making the games Marvel
Spider-Man's
Games universe?
sucker punching Sony at the moment. No, Insomniac. I can't remember who's making Spider-Man now.
Insomniac.
It's Insomniac, yes. Sucker Punch are doing the other Sony game. We'll get to that. Yeah. Then the internet exploded because people thought that Microsoft was showing Skate 4. And I'll be honest, it's very rare I get caught up, but I actually also thought...
I did.
And the reason being, I'll explain myself, the reason being, when the Xbox One X came out, Microsoft did the work on Skate 3 to get it working even better. It wasn't EA, it was Microsoft that did it. This was publicised. Microsoft did the work, making Skate 3 backwards compatible and running and looking better. So I wondered if at the same time they'd come up with a deal, we'll fund Skate 4. It happens like with Nintendo and Bayonetta. It didn't. It's that game session, which
I was very
we'll see what that's like.
Watching this, by the way, Adam,
because
I knew, because I've done a few news pieces on this.
I knew that a new session existed, but somehow I allowed myself to just
to dream.
Well, I know, because I'm not even like this massive. I preferred the Tony Hawk's games in their prime. I liked Skate, but I wasn't like, I'm not desperate for a Skate 4, so I don't know why I got caught up. It's now the next game I'm going to try not to say too much because I'm going to get angry about. People are calling this DMC. It's not, because DMC is a separate game. Devil May Cry 5 has been announced by Capcom. It looks like they took DMC and pushed it into a Devil May Cry. It's starring Nero. There's a haggard-looking Dante appears on a bike at the end.
Yeah, what have they done to Dante?
I mean, he's got old, mate. Sorry to tell you, this happens to us. Sorry.
He doesn't even look like him in any way, though. He looks like he's been on drugs.
He does look weird.
He looks like he's had a bad time. Basically, it looks very, very odd.
The game looks amazing, right? It does.
Oh yeah, that trailer looks brilliant.
Looks like a good game. However, I can't get it. It was only a few days ago at the time we're recording. I can't get past it because it feels a bit dirty to me that they are making essentially DMC2 without Ninja Theory, who I still genuinely feel made the best Devil May Cry game ever. Yeah. And there was an interesting tweet I saw about DMC where someone put like a clip of one of the bosses up where you, out of context, you're like, this is just cheesy. It's like, yeah, but the way it's delivered is with such confidence, and it's like DMC, you may not have liked it, but it liked itself, they said. And it's like, yeah, it had this confidence from the performances of the script that I don't know that you can emulate just by going, we like that style. I don't know. It looks good. I'll play it. I'll reserve judgment until I have.
DMC is still on Game Pass as well. Just throwing that out there.
Well, I've recently played it on that.
Yeah, I remember you saying, yeah.
I was
dreadful at it, but I played it, finished it.
Yeah. I mean, I sound down on it. I'm pleased we're getting more Devil May Cry. I'm pleased. No, do you know what? I'll rephrase that. I'm pleased Capcom are making new games again. Because after Resident Evil 7, we had just a slew of remakes, Street Fighter coming out over and over again, collections. I am pleased that Capcom are saying, we're making a new game.
Yeah.
And I am long-suffering Capcom fan. I adore almost all their properties, except for Mega Man. You can shove that right up your ass.
I'm all right, thanks,
I adore
Adam.
the rest
I'm
of...
all right.
Well, no, Someone's got to, Nick. I'm sorry. No,
it's not going to be me.
Just not Mega Man. Okay. Well, Chris, I appreciate you volunteering.
I'll take one for the team. I'll take one.
Well, okay. Devil May Cry 5. I heard people talking about this. I wonder if this sort of people in the know were in the know. Cuphead.
Nice.
Cuphead, that's the sequel. That's next year. Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course, which Lee Garber, God is a Geek alumni, pointed out that Delicious Last Course is an anagram of DLC.
Yay.
Not an anagram, an acronym. I can't remember which one is. I can't remember which one is. I'm tired. Yeah, Cuphead.
We're leaving that. Just we knew. It's fine.
No, listen, correct me. We all make mistakes. But yes, the DLC,
like
the Delicious Last Course. No. Miss Chalice is a third playable character. I wasn't sure because it's been a while since I played Cuphead, but at the end of it, I almost wondered if she had a triple jump. But it was so quickly on screen, I didn't see it. But, is it not interesting? Nicola is one of the sort of bigger Xbox users out here, but I found it interesting that they took like 5 years to make that game, and now they've turned around DLC in a year.
Maybe they had like a load of cash suddenly injected into them.
I mean, maybe they did. Right into their Mega Man hole. Then we saw a game I'm just not even going to pretend I'm interested in, because I was watching it and I went, that's Dragon Ball. Oh, hang on. That's One Piece. Hang on, that's Naruto. Jump Force. Bandai Namco are making a 3D fighter, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not entirely sure what it is.
I think I might have passed out of this bit because I don't really recall much of this.
I mean, the amount of games I have listed, and we still have 6 left. Well, actually, technically 8. But yeah, Jump Force is coming. This next one, I knew about this game, but not officially. I had a feeling. I was told there was a new Techland game. And because we were basically, sometimes before these events, you book appointments. We didn't attend E3 this year, but I knew there was appointments for a new Techland game. And I had a feeling like, what else could it be? It's time. This game looks fucking brilliant. Dying Light 2, with Chris Avellone involved. My word, if they can deliver on what they're suggesting.
See, I didn't like the first game.
Oh, Gary!
Fucking hell, Gary. Do you do it on purpose?
But I will say,
I mean, I know another person who didn't like it, and he's just as wrong.
I will say though, is this not a bit of a 2 fingers up? Because it's like, hey, look, where's Dead Island 2? Where is it?
They don't own Dead Island 2.
No, that's what I mean. They're saying like, what happened to Dead Island 2? Oh wait, who gives a shit? Because we're making a second Dying Light already.
But Dying Light has been supported probably better than 99% of games out there. Like they added The Following, which was like a whole new game.
Yeah, they recently did something, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did. Like that game,
like free stuff as well.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and they there was that chap who was like a massive It was a Kotaku story. Do you remember that chap? I think he died of cancer. They put him in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I thought in terms of stage demo, well, not stage demos because there weren't any, but in terms of showing the concept, I thought Chris Avellone did a phenomenal job of showing, like, do this happens. Like, they were, but like, it really made you go, oh wow, and then like, yeah, like, I mean, it looked amazing because we are in that point now where the Xbox One X is out, the PS4 Pro is out, high end. We've got new GPUs on the horizon for PCs. We're in that point now where the graphics can be pushed again to the. And
Dying Light was a nice looking game anyway.
Oh, it was a beauty. Yeah, it was. I mean. Because did they add co-op with The Following? They did, didn't they?
Co-op.
That was an added.
Co-op was co-op all throughout the game because I played the entire game in co-op with one of my pals.
I couldn't remember.
I always remember. It was vehicles.
They added vehicles.
Drop kicking zombies never got old.
Nicola. No.
Never
that
got
was
old.
the thing. I really liked the ideas and stuff like that in Dying Light 2. It was just, for whatever reason, the gameplay just didn't click with me.
Do you know what? I think it's 4-player co-op, isn't it? We should do it. We should do
it.
I'd
love that. I'd love that.
Because, like, I have to say, of all the games I've played in my life, and I've played a lot, this is one of the very few games where I think the nighttime is terrifying.
Oh, the nighttime is.
It's terrifying.
I nearly got
I don't know,
the full gamer score on Dying Light 2 because I liked it that much.
Dying Light 2?
Sorry.
Nicola?
It's because I'm reading it. It's there. It's right there.
No, I knew what you meant. I could have let that go, but I was a
yeah.
dick, so I'm sorry. No, it's yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we'll have time to do like a top 5 games of show. I think that just knowing that's coming will be a mine. Another game I knew about, Battletoads. Not a great trailer. Don't know what it is. I'm not exactly desperate for it to come back like other people seem to be, but
no, I don't quite get it because it's like I remember at the time when it was out, and it was like even then it wasn't that good a game. I just don't get why suddenly it's like, hey, look, Battletoads, don't we all love
and the thing
Battletoads?
Is,
it's like,
Rare aren't developing it. It's not Rare doing it. It's an external studio. So
yeah,
we'll see. Maybe it'll be really good.
Biggest shock of the conference, Just Cause 4. Nobody knew that was coming.
Nobody knew that one was coming.
I don't know what to say about this. I really like Just Cause 3. I'll play another game with Rico in it. It's just daft enough. It knows it's a game.
I said this on Twitter at the time. I was like, just give those guys a fucking Fast and Furious license, because this Just Cause 4 just looks like Fast and Furious.
I'll play another Just Cause. And also, it's worth... I think I wrote the news story for this, and I don't know what made me look it up. I just had a funny feeling, because I reviewed Just Cause 3. It will be near enough 3 years to the day when Just Cause 3 come out. It'll be just another December game. So that's
Does it have co-op yet?
What, the new one or the old one?
Because I know the second one, they had it added in the PC version. They
hired those people. They hired those people for the third game, and I don't think it ever... Gary, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like adding co-op. So, I mean, that game just seems like it's made for co-op.
Yeah, no, I can't. I actually can't remember. We're nearly there from Microsoft. And I'm going to preface this by saying I make no apologies for loving Gears of War. Stick that up your Mega Man hole as well.
Nobody should have to apologise for liking Gears of War.
But it seems like people have absolutely... I'm not going to rant because this is going to be a long podcast, but
love a bit of Gears.
I really feel like people have forgotten how much Gears did for the genre. I really do. Like, there were so many games that just took... I know Gears didn't invent the active reload, but it definitely popularised it. And I feel like people have absolutely forgotten how much fun... Because, video games are allowed to be just fun as much as they're allowed to be about story. But I feel like people have forgotten how fun Gears of War is. And also, hey, we've got a female lead in Gears.
Yep.
Brilliant. Yeah. Why not?
I like her as well.
I mean, so do I. I think there's an interesting story to be told. It looks like they're shutting the kind of Phoenix brothers out of the story. They might not. We only saw that bit. But
brothers, Adam.
Sorry. I nearly said siblings. Same thing. The Phoenix family. Yeah. To me, that trailer looked like they were saying, "We got it. They can fuck off. This is about Kat and."
Is it just me though, or did they kind of go? Now JD's a prick.
He was always a prick.
He was always a prick.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I never found him that much of a prick in 4, but in this,
I think the arm thing was confusing. Did something happen to his arm? I don't remember because I couldn't.
There's something happened because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in Gears 4.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
Okay, I wondered if I'd forgotten.
Do you know?
Can I just
call out one of my friends, please? Because we're watching this, right? And this guy that I know is a mega Gears fan, and we're watching it, and he's like, "Oh, this must be before the events of Gears 4," and I'm like, "No." Nah. No, it's not. He's going, because that's Marcus. I'm like, no, it's not. That's his son. He was like, yeah, but he doesn't look right. He doesn't look right. And I'm like, that's because he's older.
Yeah, well, he had a beard, didn't he? Did he have a bit of a beard?
He's got a massive scar across his face.
That's right. And did he have a bit of a beard? Because beard is a signifier of age, as we know.
I can't remember. But he was going, but Marcus...
stubbly one.
He's going, Marcus looks younger.
Marcus didn't look right. And I was like... Marcus did look odd.
Yeah, but Marcus has shaved and was back wearing his silly beanie thing, wasn't he?
Oh, shit, yeah, he was. Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm sorry. Again, no apology. I'll take that sorry back. I didn't say that. I'll cut that. Gears of War. Well, Gears, apparently. They just dropped the of War. It's Gears 5. We also got Gears Pop. I have no idea what it is. People are being sort of dicks about it. Like, hey, you don't like Pops. Do you know what? A lot of people do. They're very popular.
I've got plenty of them.
I'd like to have seen Mick's reaction when he realised it was Funko Pop. I'd love that.
Okay. I thought it was ingenious trolling
on him.
I was ready to flip the fucking table when I realised I thought it was just
Gears
that.
announcement with Gears Pop, and they're like, everyone was like, what?
I'm not being funny. Like, if we hadn't got the Gears 5 announcement right after, I would have not been saying the things I've just said about, hey, everyone likes Pops, don't they? We've got Gears Tactics as well.
I'm well in for that. I think that was
Gears
great.
Tactics?
Yeah. It's XCOM with Gears.
But is it a phone game?
Shooter. Sorry?
Is it a phone game? Because I had a bit of problem with my connection. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so is this the Kinect game that never came out, repurposed as a strategy game?
It's basically like XCOM. It's It is exactly
I'm
XCOM.
well up for that.
Well, that's it. Well, you
I
think
haven't had a chance to catch it. Yeah.
Gears is a cover shooter.
Yeah.
XCOM is all about the cover system.
Yeah.
It's a perfect fit. And I will happily get this.
Oh my god! I thought it was phone only, which slightly put me off.
Gears
I didn't know it
Pop
was
is the mobile game. Gears Tactics is the
okay. Like I say, in
the
between Gears
strategy.
Pop and 5, I dropped out. I lost my YouTube video, stopped buffered.
Right.
And then to close the show, no one's heard of it. Tiny little game, Cyberpunk 2077. First time we've seen or heard that game for a while.
Yeah.
I love this trailer. People have slowed it down. I noticed it at the time, and I thought, I wonder what they're for. When they all the text there was loads of Xbox codes. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did that.
They were all codes for the Witcher 3 Game of the Year edition.
Wow.
Aren't they just the best? Like, you know what I mean? And there was also, I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, because again, there's a lot not been done, but if anyone hasn't, look it up. A lot of the red text, when you slow it down, there was some more information there. One of them was like, will there be DLC? Will there be a season? No, fucking hell, what was it? One of them was, will there be DRM? And they said, no, we're going to do... This is all in there, like when it starts. No, we're going to do the same as before, no DRM. One was, like, will there be microtransactions? And then it said, no, why would there be microtransactions in a single-player RPG? One was, when's it's coming out? And then the text underneath said, like, it's coming out when we're ready. We said that it'll be done when it's done, and we maintain that. The only negative I can find from this trailer is that I don't understand why it's there, because I think this game's 2020 at the earliest.
Really?
At the earliest.
You think it's that far off?
I think it's miles off.
Wow.
There was no gameplay in that video. Or, should I rephrase that? If any of that was gameplay, it wasn't on the hardware we can play right now. Like, that's either a next-gen game or it's 2020 and that's a CGI trailer. I really do think that game is a long way off.
I thought it looked in-engine, at least. But,
say,
I just... Unless it was, like, just all running on the X...
I don't think the X could push a game that well.
Yeah, but either way, I think everyone is excited for this, aren't they? I don't know anyone who doesn't like Witcher.
Though. In a trailer at E3 that they reveal a bit more about the game that we've all been dying to know something about. They just throw a load of Xbox codes for the last game, and not even the base game, the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC. Like, that's just, and there was a lot of codes. Like, I saw them. I saw them as it was happening. I was like, they were Xbox codes, and there was a lot of them. Like, that is. They're just great. They are. I'm sorry, and I've regaled my story of how they saved my Witcher 2 review by fixing a save bug many times. I won't do it again, but they're good guys.
Before we move on, can I just mention one thing? I was certain that Phil Spencer said that they'd mention more about the Playground games.
No, I saw you mention that. What he said is we'll talk about that soon, and I think what you took
I
that to
thought
be was
said
in
later.
this conference. No, he
what
might have,
made
but
me...
same difference. No, Playground Games was staffing up for an RPG. I think a lot of people assumed it would be Fable 4. Do you know what? I have actually missed something from here because I've put it in square. They also announced, Microsoft, that hang on, I need to scroll down on my thingy. The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit would be free. I forgot that. That's just another little one. Just another little thing to throw in there. No, he did mention that Playground are doing an RPG, but he said he either said later or soon.
I think he said later, and
another
that's
time.
I took it to mean later
on
in the show.
Conference. No, I think he meant later.
Yeah. Which is fair enough. I wanted that clearing up, basically.
I'm going to just jump in and I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10 because I think that is the best Xbox conference they have had in. When it all comes down to it, the thing I personally want from a conference is a couple of things this year, some stuff I can get excited about in the future, and just games. I don't want to hear about Netflix. I don't want to hear about any of that shit. You know, I just want to see some really badass games. It's gaming Christmas. So for me, it's a 9. Like, I don't. There's not much more they could have done apart from to push to a 10 if Ori was out right now, if Crackdown was this year.
Below.
You know what I mean? There's not a lot more they could have done. People are talking about, what's the game I was going to say? I forgot. They've got no games this season. Like, you know, they have. Forza's a big game. People, again, it's that thing of people forgetting what games other people play, and Forza is a big series and a popular one. So for me, let's say, only thing they could have done, maybe show some more Halo. Maybe Ori was out this year, then it would have probably been a 10. So 9 from me, Gary. What was your summation of the thing?
I'd go probably the same, 9. I think they did I mean, I would have liked to have seen something of Halo other than just a quick engine thing. But, I mean, again, another kind of gripe would just be there wasn't quite enough this year. But at the same time, what they showed was spot on. I think they showed so many good things.
But we didn't have to hear about the power of the console over and over again.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. They just went, look, here's a shit ton of games, some that you knew about, some that you really didn't, and then to start with Halo was nuts in the first place. To finish it with Cyberpunk, that was I think they got that absolutely right.
I genuinely feel no, I'm not going to say that. No, forget that. That's trolling for the sake of it. Nicola, where do you sit? Where do you score this?
I think an 8, possibly an 8.5 for Big Phil's bold wardrobe choice. I think it was a good conference. It was a good Microsoft conference, no doubt about it. I think the news of the 5 studios is excellent news. As an Xbox player who is starting to really bemoan the fact that there isn't any killer app on the system.
Top tier exclusives, I guess, isn't it?
That was big news, and that I thought was probably the most interesting news of their conference, to be honest, because it kind of made a statement like, yeah, we've heard you. We understand that there are frustrations in the community about, the output from our first party studios, the fact that we are just that they have, let's face it, just relied on their key franchises for quite a long time, to a point that it's become a little bit of like, oh great, as much as I enjoy Halo and Gears and Forza's not my bag, but as much as I enjoy those games, it is a bit like I would like to see something new. So I think that was the highlight, really. Definitely feel like it was a better direction that they went in. Like you say, there wasn't all the guff about it's the most powerful console and this, that, and the other. I just thought that it showed games that look great, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, an 8 for me.
Okay. Some interesting stuff like the ID Xbox games coming into Game Pass as well. I mean, one of them was that after party. That's Night School, isn't it? The guys that did Oxenfree.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
For me, was amazing game.
Yep.
So anything that they're doing, I'm in on.
We've lost Chris momentarily, but we'll move on to Bethesda, and I think that the next 2 conferences we're going to go through quite quickly because they kind of appear everywhere else, and well, you'll see. So Bethesda, they showed some Rage 2, and I will say I think that gameplay looked fantastic. Like, I liked Rage, but not that much, if you know what I mean. I really enjoyed it. I didn't love it, and I feel like Rage 2 looks really good. Like, it looks highly entertaining. I mean, that was a very scripted gameplay slice, but it looked good, didn't it?
Very.
Yeah.
Very fun. Was it still id that are doing it? I didn't notice that.
Avalanche.
Oh, it was.
And id, I think.
You're right. I'd forgotten
I don't know who's doing what or how that works, because they're two studios that make kind of balls to the wall stuff, so, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what more there is to say. We can't really describe the gameplay. Go and have a look at it. You can watch it. It looks like Rage, ratcheted up to, I did enjoy Andrew WK and a room full of games critics like not knowing what to do with themselves. I thought that was fun. The Elder Scrolls Legends is coming to consoles. Yes, a no-brainer. It's weird because I've seen people say it, and it's true. They're doing what Hearthstone won't do. They're putting their card game onto consoles. Good.
Yeah. Yep.
More DLC for Tamriel Unlimited.
Fair enough. I do really like the Elder Scrolls Online, but I mean, I've not played Somerset.
Every time I download it, it's 80 gigabytes, and by the time it's finished, I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. But, if you want to, you can. It's in Game Pass.
Which is cool, actually.
Which is very cool, because it used to be a subscription-based game, didn't it? Very, very long time ago.
Yeah.
But 80 gigabytes, just be aware of that. More DLC for that, yeah. Doom Eternal. I don't know what to think, because that was very much a teaser, wasn't it?
Yeah. This I won't go too much into it now, but this kind of summed up my issue with Bethesda's show. It was just, here's a CG trailer that shows you nothing, really, and it's pretty much designed to just hype you up and nothing more, and I'm just like,
I tell you, I'll bring Nicola in here because I wonder if she's of the same opinion, but the reason I'm not, shitting myself with excitement about this is because I'm a little worried it's not called Doom 2. I'm worried it's something else. Something not quite the sequel. Do you know what I mean?
That was the same with me in Halo, actually. I was like,
right, yeah. Why isn't it called Halo 6?
So but I see what you mean.
Yeah, it may just be that they feel there already was a Doom 2, so we can't call it Doom 2.
Yeah, we're
but there
kind
was
of in
already
that
a
weird
Doom
age, aren't we? Where we've got reboots, both films and games
Wolfenstein.
That are just they're just the same title again, and it's like, where do you go from there with your sequel numbering?
Okay, Quake Champions is. I put down Quake Champions Trial. Quake Champions is all right. I don't know why they sort of keep trying, if you know what I mean, because it doesn't seem to be doing very well. Another game that is available right now, another add-on that Nicola is reviewing, Prey Moon Crash. I have to be honest, I missed this and I have no idea what it is. Have you had a chance to play it yet? Because I know you only just.
I had to re-download the game, and the game's like 60 gig or something, so I left it downloading earlier. I mean, it will have done by now, but obviously I haven't been on to load it up.
Was it free? The Moon Crash?
No, it's DLC.
Oh, right, okay.
No, I don't think so. You've got me wondering now. No, I don't think so. I think it's...
it's just the way you were saying, as if it's like, have you just downloaded it? It's free to download or something. But...
No, it was a code.
No, I mean, I had to re-download Prey, the actual game, because I only have a base PS4. And
so games are getting big, aren't they?
Bearing in mind, I downloaded Battlefield 1, which is like 65 gig or something. I don't have a lot of space, so I deleted Prey off a few months back, actually. So I had to re-download the whole game before even starting on the DLC. So,
gotcha. Yeah. Wolfenstein Youngblood is a co-op Wolfenstein adventure coming in 2019 with 2 female protagonists, BJ Blazkowicz's daughters. I had no idea where they could go next with Wolfenstein if they didn't just do Wolfenstein 3, where you make a Hitler on that, but. I think they've smashed it again, haven't they? What a great idea. It's a brilliant idea. Mm-hmm. Turn it co-op, make it his daughters. Job done. Fantastic. I'm in. Don't know about you guys. All in.
Yeah.
I'm interested, but again, another CG trailer that just...
Okay, yeah, I suppose, but...
But yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm still interested because the Wolfenstein games are brilliant. So,
yeah,
more of that. If it's anywhere near the same quality, then excellent.
Fallout 76, we had a bit in Microsoft, but here obviously we got more. November the 14th, it's out this year.
That's my birthday, guys. It's almost like Bethesda now.
It's intentional, and it's a month. It's after Red Dead, so they're the only ones with any balls. It's entirely online, but it's playable solo. I think they said 4 times bigger. There's going to be a beta. It's also a prequel in terms of the canon of Fallout, isn't it?
Yeah, like the very first vault to open, is it? Or something like that.
So Fallout 3 and New Vegas, beautiful games. Loved them to pieces. It's a disgusting amount of hours. I played them on the back of Oblivion, which I think I hit over 100 hours. When Fallout 4 came, everyone was hyped for it, and I just couldn't get involved. I felt like it was too similar. It looked better, but not amazing. And I just couldn't. And I tried multiple times. I just couldn't get into it. So I booted it up just after this because I was like, I fancy some Fallout. And it clicked again. And I've not got the time to go through it. But it was like, okay, I think I'm back in on the Fallout. I think, do you know, sometimes with games where they're that similar, you need like a game off from them, like Assassin's Creed. Mm-hmm. And I think Fallout 4 was my Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where it was a good game, but I missed it because I was just Fallouted out of them, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Fallout 76, great. That's this year.
I'm mad keen on this, guys. Mad keen.
Well,
because
that's not the only Fallout news either, but go on,
well,
Nick, go on.
I'll tell you for why. Because Fallout 4, I've got like 90 hours in Fallout 4. I've nowhere near finished.
Crikey.
Just pottering about. I really like the settlement building. I really, really like it.
Do you? See, that's the bit about Fallout 4 I don't like.
I really like it. I've spent probably about 35 hours just building settlements because I like to build stuff. So the idea of playing a Fallout with my pals, building shit, kind of really gets me going.
Good.
The thing that worries me, though, is they've said that people could just blow your settlements up.
But they've also said it's playable solo.
Yeah, but does that mean that even though when you're playing it solo, you're going to be online?
I wonder if it's going to be a bit like Conan, the way the PvP works on Conan.
It's just like, you've got like your PvE servers and your PvP, so maybe. I don't like the idea of
something different.
Yeah, definitely. I just don't like the idea of possibly putting in quite a lot of hours into building something, then someone just goes, I'm going to blow it up, and that's it, done.
I will have a caveat on this. Bearing in mind how buggy we know that Bethesda games are, I'm interested to know how well they're going to do netcoding for multiplayer, because it's not really their pedigree,
Elder Scrolls Online works, so I assume that they've got those guys to come in on it.
I forgot about Elder Scrolls Online. After we've just been
Most people have.
it.
Yeah. well, Bethesda didn't forget about Fallout Shelter because that's now on Switch and PS4.
I was really excited about it being on Switch because literally about a week ago I was like, oh, I wonder if Fallout Shelter's on Switch, because I wouldn't mind having that just so that when I go and have a coffee and I can sit and just dick about with Fallout, because I used to have it on my iPad. And I really enjoyed it, but my iPad just is too old to play it, really.
Yeah,
so
same.
It didn't work very well. And I literally was, a week ago, I looked. I was like, oh, shit, that's a shame, because it'd be perfect on Switch. And lo and behold, it was announced. And I downloaded it straight away. And I've already got a vault that's huge.
Okay. Well, Elder Scrolls Blades is another game they announced I don't know a lot about. And unless either of you desperately want to talk about it, I'm going to skim over it for the big announcements.
No.
Well, I say big announcements. They announced Starfield. In fact, I'm going to group these together for the simple reason. They announced Starfield and they announced The Elder Scrolls 6. But that's kind of all they did. They are just announcements. We're making these games. I don't know that there's anything we can eke out of those trailers other than they're making them. Starfield looks like it's coming first. Elder Scrolls 6 looks like it's just we are literally making the game.
That is years off. Isn't it?
Oh, that might be a next-gen game as well.
Off.
Yeah, but there you go. I mean, I don't want to rush Bethesda, if you know what I mean. But again, some of their games appeared elsewhere, so we're not dedicating as much time to it. But I'm ready to score it if you guys are.
Yeah.
You go for it then, guys. What's yours?
4.
Okay, Nicola?
Too much CG. It was just not. There's not enough in there to carry an entire show.
Okay.
I'm round about the same, to be honest. I'd probably put 4.5.
Okay, well, I'm not counting halves, but that's fair enough. So I'm the same. So I'm going to go 4. I thought Rage 2 looked great. I'm glad they're making a Doom. I'm glad they're making another Wolfenstein. I will play a new Fallout, and of course Starfield and the Elder Scrolls. But like, they are literally things you could have announced in a press release.
Yeah.
That's a low score.
Well,
Square Enix.
I think it says it all, because I was just like, you know how much I wanted Elder Scrolls 6. That announcement should have been... You're going to get it now. Yeah, it should have been a thing where I'm like, holy shit, they're doing it. And I'm just like, oh, that's it. Oh, okay. Great, thanks.
Okay.
Just not enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. I enjoyed it. Like, I'm not saying it's horrendous. It was horrendous. There was a lot in there, like Quake Champions, not fast. Tamriel Unlimited, not fast. I liked Prey, but not enough that I'd play any more of it now. Fallout Shelter, not interested. Elder Scrolls Blades, not interested in this. Literally, there's Rage and Wolfenstein set Fallout, the 3 games that I think will all be good, but there's not enough to carry a conference, so you see. Square Enix, if you think we rushed through Bethesda, we're going to rush through this one because this is like almost everything appeared elsewhere. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we've discussed. Final Fantasy Stormblood, I've written that down. I don't even remember why I've written that down.
It was there, and I think they announced another patch.
Okay.
Thing. I can't remember what it was called.
Well, if you're announcing a patch at a press briefing. Final Fantasy Monster Hunter collaboration. I'm assuming, again, I'd missed this. I'm assuming that means you're going to get Final Fantasy stuff in Monster Hunter. That's cool. I'm glad they're doing that. I think
it was both. I think it looked like there was going to be Monster Hunter stuff in Final Fantasy 14.
Okay. The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. And the reason I put this down here again is because I was watching via YouTube's gaming thing, their thing, and I just happened to be watching a different one. I think it was Ubisoft, the pre-show for Ubisoft, and they had one of the Don't Nod guys on there, and he asked him about Season 2. Jeff Keighley asked him about Season 2 of Life is Strange, and he was really coy. Really coy. He said, "Oh, we're not talking about that right now." He goes, "Oh, is it in the future?" He goes, "No, we can't talk about anything Season 2 right now." And he was really pushing him. He goes, "Well, look," he goes, "We'll talk about something Season 2 in a couple of months. So I reckon Gamescom we're going to hear something about that." But yeah, that put it in there. Babylon's Fall, Platinum Games, another Square Enix and Platinum Games game. Pure CGI, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It looked a little bit worryingly medievally, and I don't tend to get on with those kind of games. But,
It's alright, but I like to say CGI, and
I mean, it's Platinum, so
it'll get a free pass because of that.
It will. Dragon Quest XI. Oh, sorry, Gaz, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, it's fine.
Octopath Traveler, July 13th. Just Cause 4, we knew. Kingdom Hearts 3, we knew. The Quiet Man looks interesting. The press release says it can be completed in one sitting and is a cinematic adventure game, so that looks like a sort of smaller game. It looks interesting, but like that was Square Enix's press conference.
Yeah, I didn't really see the point.
I mean, in fairness to them, there are good games there, but they were all elsewhere. It was the second time we saw Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I think Dragon Quest, Babylon's Fall, The Quiet Man, I think they were the only ones that were kind of really not elsewhere. I mean, Octopath Traveler we knew about.
Yeah, it's literally out next month. And
it's nice it's got that date, but
people would have probably wanted to know some information on Final Fantasy VII, didn't they?
Yeah,
didn't get it.
Surprised that wasn't. Well, I'm assuming it's not going well, but.
But it kind of makes you realise that Sony announced that because it was something big they could announce and do amazing, and it's just not. It's nowhere near done.
No.
So I'm going to ask you to somehow rate these then out of 10.
I'm going to go with a 2.
I'm going to agree with a 2.
I'm just going to go 3. I'm slightly kinder than you guys.
That's fine. So you said 3, did you? Okay, that's still the lowest scoring one so far. As we move into Ubisoft then, now this is an interesting press conference because I feel like if you hadn't told anyone and someone had a shit memory like me, there's a chance you could have got away with that being last year's press conference.
Yeah.
So they opened... Go on, Gaz. No, go on.
I think other than the Assassin's Creed title, the name of it, it was basically last year's conference.
I think we have to be a little bit fair here. If Assassin's Creed hadn't leaked ahead of this, it would have had a bigger impact.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not their fault. And I think because it leaked, everyone just assumed, oh, well, they still got Splinter Cell. We'll get to that. Just Dance 2019, brilliant. The one thing I'll say, Ubisoft just have fun with it. They have fun with their press conference, and it should be fun. That was a great intro, and if you're going to do it, when you know that half the audience doesn't care, what a good idea. Have a bit of fun, get it out of the way.
Yeah.
And also, I'm Still Standing, Vivendi. I think that's intentional that they chose that song, I'm Still Standing.
Didn't even click.
Yeah, I think that's very much intentional. Starting and ending on Elton John's I'm Still Standing is a message to Vivendi. I feel like that we're all right, thanks. Beyond Good and Evil 2 then.
It looked interesting, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
I didn't play Beyond Good and Evil when it released. I played it when it released as an arcade game on the Xbox 360.
Right.
And I really didn't understand why it was so beloved. And I think...
It's aged poorly.
Yeah, I think because I came to it too late and it's got a lot of old design choices in it which were just frustrating as hell I just didn't get it. So I did enjoy the trailer for Beyond Good and Evil. I thought it looked interesting, but I haven't got the love of the original to make me go, oh my god, I can't wait to play this game. I'm a bit like that, really.
They said it was a prequel as well, so I don't really know what's going on there. But I mean, it looks amazing. Like visually, I don't know how much of that's going to be cutscenes. All of it, I assume. It looks amazing. Like it really does. It's striking. It looks different. But again, I don't think it's anywhere near ready.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a couple of years
off.
A while off. Yeah, I think that's a 2020. Yeah, at some of these games I'm saying 2020, I honestly can see them being like games that, like last time, they're on this gen and the next gen. Yep. I really can. Trials Rising was a bit of a surprise, but it was about time, I guess. I'll always play a Trials game if it's a good one, like not like the last DLC, which was pants, but the last few games, Trials HD, they were all great fun games. I'll always play a Trials. I kind of thought that was going to be, and it's out now because of the nature of the size of the game, but that's next year as well. As is The Division 2, which we saw a bit more of, a longer CGI trailer, which I feel like it's got even darker, that game, which is a worry because it was already pretty bleak. Well, yeah, still going to play it. Then somehow they pivoted from that to Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong DLC, which for a brief second I thought was an announcement of a new Rayman. But
I thought for a moment it was a new Jungle Beat. Something, considering they did it all musically, I just thought, maybe, but
no, I mean, again, that's out this month, so that's good. And now Nicola, the game that threatens to eat Sea of Thieves' lunch, Skull and Bones, which I thought last year, like, it's just Assassin's Creed Pirates. After this demonstration, I'm a little bit more, this looks rather interesting.
It does look interesting, but having just played a bit of the naval battles that happen at the sort of latter end of Assassin's Creed Origins, I'm not overly hopeful that it's going to be as amazing as it looks.
I mean, every game I've mentioned here.
Cynic. I just.
Well, no, but like it was shown last year. Like they showed this last year. What did they show that's different? They explained stuff, but it went straight through me. I must admit.
I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment. I mean, it does look cool. I'm not gonna lie. Pirates are cool, even though they're horrible people, but they are cool. And the whole sort of like naval battle stuff is an exciting idea. I don't know. Like I say, I've literally just done one of the latter missions in Assassin's Creed Origins, and that is a battle on the water, and it is fucking awful. It's awful.
Interesting.
So, and I have done a little bit of Black Flag and played a little bit of that, and I just don't think that it is as exciting as the trailer makes it look. But there again, Skull and Bones is a multiplayer game, isn't it? It's not single player.
No, it is. It's like Sea of Thieves.
Right.
It's like you get your crew together.
That makes me a little more interested because obviously in Origins and in Black Flag, you are the solo person trying to steer the boat and shoot and do all the other things. But at least if you've got a crew, because that, obviously in Sea of Thieves you've got a crew who are all doing different jobs, and that kind of works. The only thing that's kind of pissed me off a little bit about this, and that this is me really, rather than it being anything to do with the game or Ubisoft or anything like that, but I've seen an inordinate amount of people on Twitter go, Skull and Bones looks like what Sea of Thieves should be. And I'm like, fucking shut up about Sea of Thieves. It's a good game.
Well... how to pivot from that? Well, they pivoted from it by bringing out Elijah Wood again for Transference, a game I forgot existed, but they showed last year. I think it's a VR game. I really enjoyed the fact that Elijah Wood's cocked his lines up and the developer next to him didn't. I thought that was a lovely little... But I mean, there's not much to say. It's the same as last year. They showed the game. It's live action. It's a scary game. Gets inside your head.
It seemed to be both. It looked like it had like actual in-game... like normal gameplay, but mixed with live action.
Okay. Well, then we then got Starlink, which is fair play to Ubisoft for pushing that Toys to Life thing. They aren't giving it up, but then they got Miyamoto and Star Fox, and lovely little moment. the Star Fox is going to be in Starlink. Then we got Rainbow Six Siege, which not glossing over because I don't like it, but it's not new.
Did you see
For
how
Honor,
many players they had for it though?
35 million, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's a documentary about Siege, which I'll have a look at. So there's that and the Honor they showed. Sorry, For Honor. Both great games, but, not new. Then there was The Crew 2, where they just come and did some stuff about The Crew, and they said the open beta's open now. Again, that game's out in 2 weeks. And then we closed on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is a new Assassin's Creed game this year, and it is got conversation options. It's got a choice between a male or female, but quite honestly, who's picking that male? I don't know, because he looks the most generic, dull, boilerplate, beardy man, and then there's this interesting female character, like, I know who I'm playing as. It looked like a pretty game. I liked the setting. I was some of the accents threw me a bit. I'm not sure, on my Greek accent, but some of them seemed a bit off.
Yeah.
But it's not out yet. We'll revert. And also a lot of open world games, you can't have every voice perfect. But I liked the setting. It looked pretty, which I enjoy the fact it wasn't, because one of the things that put me off Origins a bit was how dry and arid. It's just all desert because of its setting. I mean, there are nice areas as well, but this looks colourful, and I like that in a game sometimes. Like God of War showed that a game can be gritty but actually have really colourful, nice places.
Assassin's Creed's really colourful. Origins, I mean.
I've only played like 3 hours of it though, Nick.
Right,
so
fair enough.
I will.
I've been
one
taking
day,
pictures of it, so you can always look at my pictures.
No, I've seen them, and they make it look really good. I think you're the reason I don't enjoy it, because I keep going to play it. It's like it doesn't look like this. This game doesn't look like this. The problem with the Origins for me is I started it after Horizon, and Horizon had such the inertia, the movement is so much more responsive in Horizon that when I went to Origins it felt like a slug. So maybe I'll go back because there's enough time passed. But Odyssey is apparently a prequel, and I don't understand that because I thought Origins was the origin.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
It kind of makes no sense.
I think because they wanted to use this really exciting period in history, and then they were like, "Oh shit, we've already done the Origins."
Yeah.
I do like the look of this one though, and I
don't
like Assassin's Creed, but this.
Oh.
I mean, I've said this multiple times now, but this looks like it isn't even an Assassin's Creed game. It looked like it could have been a different IP altogether.
To be honest,
a lot of us said that Origins was going down that route, wasn't it? It was going more witchery.
Assassin's Creed, in my opinion.
And maybe Odyssey is the natural conclusion of that path. They've gone towards skill trees and the thing about Origins that didn't click with me is that in previous games, it's like when you got the blades, the hidden blades, it was because story reasons. In Origins, you just unlock a skill tree to get skill. And the natural conclusion for that is adding conversation wheels, is adding choice of character. Listen, they've kind of reignited themselves. They've got people behind them again. Part of me is like, don't spoil it, take another year, but it looks good. That was Ubisoft. Like I say, the problem I had is that they didn't then have a Splinter Cell, which still makes me wonder where it is, because I just don't believe they got Ironside in for just some DLC. The problem I had with it is that literally everything apart from Trials, the Division 2 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey was basically at last year's press conference. So while I don't think it was bad, I'm going to stick it. I'm going to give him a 6 because I think it was. No, I'm going to give him a 5. It was an average conference. There was a lot of CGI. I don't recall seeing any gameplay apart from Assassin's Creed of a new game.
Well, the Trials. There was a brief bit of.
The Skull and Bones was gameplay, but it was chopped up a lot. Beyond Good and Evil was a brief bit. Yeah, I'm going 5. I'm going 5. Gary?
Yeah, I think that's maybe 6.
Okay, Nicola?
5.
Okay, right. Sony then. This will be easy because this is bizarre to me. Sony are normally this huge event, and they even took the piss out of it themselves at the start, like welcome to the church, welcome to our little tent. They said they were going to show 4 games, and they showed 4 and announced a few. But part of me wondered, they're taking the mick. They're going to secretly blow the roof off with all these games. They didn't. They did what they said. The Last of Us Part 2 looks like The Last of Us Part 2. It looks like exactly what I thought it was going to be like. It was. They showed I don't fully understand this demo they showed because there's a cutscene which fades into gameplay, which fades back to the cutscene. And I can't imagine that when you actually sit down and play this final game, that's how it will work. It'll play out.
No, I think it was just for the purposes of kind of showing the two different sides, maybe.
Yeah, but what I'm saying there is the reaction that trailer, because it's a trailer, that clip is enthralling. Like, I was glued to my television watching that when I did watch it. But when you realise that gameplay section is like not scripted, but the person playing it knows the AI routines, knows it's been demoed 10 times and they've recorded the best one. When you take that away from that cutscene actually in my head is a bit odd. People should be afraid of you. Kiss. See, they should be afraid of you. Wait, what? Like, is that even in the game?
Ellie
also
is a fucking menace. I keep saying
she's
this.
She's a nutter.
She's
an absolute
menace. And I think that was just to cement the fact that she is a cold-blooded, stone-cold killer.
Oh, she's cold, yeah. But so there are things to unpack from this. One, Joel is alive. Because she says, your old man told me off. So Joel is around at some point in this game. So the one thing I didn't quite get is, so the scene starts, there's the girl she kisses is dancing with a guy. And that's happening. And then another guy comes up to Ellie and Ellie says, you'll get her back within 2 weeks. And there's like a jokey, like 1 week. Are they talking about the other girl? Yeah. So is that girl bisexual or is she playing them all, if you see what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, there's not enough.
Because Ellie seems in on it. No, I suppose.
There's not enough in there to
but do you see what I mean? Like,
really.
Ellie seems in on it, if so. But because Ellie's gay and she's always been gay. Like, the fact that the internet's acting like this is a surprise. It's like, did you play the Left Behind?
Because even if you had half an eye just playing the original without the DLC, you'd know that she's gay.
But the DLC is like neon lights. By the way, it's like it's neon lights flashing gay above her head, isn't it? Like,
to be honest, even if you'd not played them and you were watching that trailer, it was fucking obvious right from the start.
Yeah,
the way she's looking at her as she's dancing, alone was like, she wants some of that, you know.
But
you're right. I wasn't expecting you to say that phrase. It's just that's what took me by surprise. But no, it's like I don't. Also, I mean, listen, the three of us are never going to understand it. Who fucking cares? Who cares? Yeah. But if that's the story they want to tell, do you know what? There's a lot of games out there with heterosexual.
The SJWs are taking over.
But like, there are plenty of games out there with heterosexual relationships in it. Like, if the story Naughty Dog want to tell is that Ellie's gay and that's some part of her character, because it is part of her character, in the same way I would talk about my wife and kids, they're part of me, they're part of my life. Like, do you know? Most of that game, you're going to be stabbing people in the heart anyway. Like,
I mean, I saw some comments as well where they were saying, "Where's Joel? Joel's far more interesting than Ellie."
But Joel was the setup for the second game.
That Joel was more interesting in Ellie. I've always thought Ellie was the more interesting character. So the idea,
I think Joel was more interesting until he meets Ellie, because of his backstory. But once you meet Ellie, she becomes the best character. Yeah, absolutely.
She's the heart of the first game, anyway. You know,
Ellie was the reason why Joel was actually a good character throughout that game.
Also, there can't be a sequel without Ellie. There can't be. Unless they did what we originally said, where they take a whole new stab at the world. If any of those characters are going to be in it, it has to be Ellie. Have they forgotten how the game ended? I don't want to spoil it here, but, like, she's the key to everything.
I mean, Adam, The Last of Us was out on the PS3.
I know, but it's one of those games I hold so dear that, like...
You know, if people are still worried about spoilers for The Last of Us... I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I am interested to find out in this game if she knows. I think it's a bit like the God of War thing.
I don't think Joel would be alive if she knows.
I suspect she'll find out during the course of this
in the
game.
way that God of War, Atreus finds out who he is.
Yeah.
Like, in that same way, like, it's kind of the elephant in the room. It has to be... listen... There's nothing they could do to sell me more on that game. You're either going to play it or you're not, and I was always going to play it.
Absolutely, 100% going to play it.
I still feel like I'm not sure we need it, but it's coming, so I'm going to play it. And, you know, listen, looks amazing.
I'll play it.
It's nice to see...
Moan about it.
Okay.
Moan about it, stop playing it, pick it up about 6 months later, and then just absolutely blast through it and go, actually, do you know what? That Last of Us Part 2 was a good game, guys. You want to give it a go?
Do you know? Do you want to know what made me chuckle to myself when I was watching this? I keep saying trailer because it is a trailer. But what made me really chuckle to myself? I was sat on my sofa where I normally play games, watching it on my big TV that I normally play a game on, full screen, looking at it, thinking, "Oh, what a nice game." And then I was sat there thinking, something's missing. And I realised the thing that was missing is that I was looking at a PlayStation game without it sounding like a fucking aircraft carrier when it was in my room because the PlayStation wasn't on. Ghosts of Tsushima. That's the Sucker Punch game, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, at the risk of sounding like a bit of a miserable bastard, it would be. I think Sony need to perhaps start doing things that aren't third-person action adventure. They do them very well. They do them brilliantly. But they are becoming the people that just do that. In the same way that people thought Microsoft were the first-person games, but then they did Gears and they got Forza. Like, Sony do have other games, but like, I think Ghost of Tsushima looked really good, but it didn't look to the same quality of, say, The Last of Us. There was some interesting stuff in there, like you could see the almost Assassin's Creed sort of the enemy glowed. Because I was looking at it again, where's the UI then? Because there's going to be a UI in this game, but then like one of them glows to signify which one they're going to attack. The framing of the combat, the fight during the end with the autumn leaves blowing was beautiful. The only thing that spoiled this gameplay for me was the fact she turns on him so quickly, and the fact then at the end they have a little fight, and then it's like, oh shit, the real enemy's coming. We'll fight together. Fight together again was a bit, I don't know. I feel like there's not been enough setup for the game for me to care about their predicament at the moment.
I do think it's a fantastic setting.
Oh, absolutely. There's not enough games like it.
Something that's not been really done. I mean, I really like the setting. I like the idea of the game.
Absolutely.
I think we need to see more of it, more of the kind of the wider gameplay rather than just.
This is a game we kind of need a cinematic trailer to explain what's going on.
Yeah,
it does look good though.
Yeah.
See, it's the Mongol hordes coming over, isn't
That's it? Yeah, that's right. But did you see the bit where he climbed up onto the roof and then he threw the little thing to get him to swing?
Yeah.
To me, that looked like there must be some sort of UI that's missing because there's just no way you'd know where to do that. Like, it was either automatic entirely or they've just removed the UI for the basis of the demo.
Possibly.
But yeah, it looked good though, didn't it? Right? I mean, it looked pretty. The nice lighting, nice effects work. You know,
more interesting to me than the next one.
No, I've actually put that next one on the list, but I'm going to save that till last. And then I'm gonna cut this bit out and make it sound like you've just said that about. Just a little pause for breath there. Resident Evil. No, Gary, you had been saying, oh, well, what if they do? What if they do? And I was like, they're not going to. You're right. Resident Evil 2 remake, and I think that might be my favourite game of the show. That looked.
Just do you remember directly into my veins, please? Like, just fucking give me
and
that.
And at least we know it's coming in January. Like, you know how? Do you remember at the time? How remake looked, and that is the same jump. Not in terms of technical aspect because it's different, but the original game to the remake. That's how I felt when I saw it. It's like, oh my god, well, seeing 2 look like that.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Well, that's the thing
god.
They said, didn't they? Recently, there was a thing where it said like, "This is the best looking game we've ever made," and I'm I can see that now.
I thought for a minute it was first person because I was watching it groggy this morning and thought I didn't realise it wasn't.
As soon as I saw that PlayStation in that kind of like that first person view bit with the rat, I was like, don't do that, don't you tease me. And then it's like, no, this is actually Resident Evil 2 and it's out in January. It's like, yeah.
The only thing I will say is that this morning watching that, that's the first thing I watched. I was like, oh, that announced, that was shown. I'm looking at that right now. A bit groggy eyed when they revealed. I think it was Nemesis at the end, wasn't it? Was it?
I think that was. It was either Mr. X or it was William Birkin.
It looked like he was wearing like a cowboy hat and like a.
It'd be Mr. Because Mr. X was like a massive trench coat, wasn't he? So
yeah, it would be. Yeah,
but I mean, I've watched the thingy since there's been a little gameplay trailer as well.
Has there?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Thanks for letting me know.
It's only.
Fucking hell.
It's only a couple of minutes long. It doesn't show an awful lot, but it shows you enough to be like, this. Oh yeah, I'm 100% in. Because it's over the shoulder. I
suppose now will be a time to tell you they've released 10 minutes of Forza Horizon gameplay.
Yeah, I'll be watching that after. I saw that I saw the post just before setting up for
it was literally
for this, and I was like,
this.
I'm gonna have to watch that later.
But yeah, Resident Evil 2 remake is happening. It's January next year. That's not that far away. It's less than it's 6 months away, isn't it?
Little anecdote: Resident Evil 2 was the first game that I actually completed and then replayed straight away. Again, of these
what
modern
a game that was.
era type.
That was
games.
2 discs, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was 2
it
discs.
was on the PlayStation.
They have said this is going to have the same dual thingy again. So you'll have essentially 2 games in one, or I'm assuming technically 4 if they do the whole second scenario thing. But I've not seen whether they're doing that or whether they're just
Tofu
doing it
be
all
in
as
it?
one.
Lest we can only hope. So Sony also announced Neo 2, which is just they've announced Neo 2. There's nothing we can say about that. They also announced Control, which is a multi-platform game by Remedy, which may as well be called Quantum Break 2 from what I saw.
When I was watching that trailer, I was like, this looks an awful lot like Quantum Break, and then it came up with Remedy. I was like, oh, right, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, originally apparently called P7, Project 7, I guess. Again, not much to say, really.
No, it looks like it could be fun, but
yeah. I've deliberately left it till last, so let's also talk about Spider-Man. There's one more game after this. Spider-Man, Insomniac continues to look terrific. Shows us some of the bad guys. If they nail, because the gameplay looks amazing, like the interactivity with all the environmental stuff, the sheer amount of attacks that he does is incredible. If that, and this is so important, if that feels as good as it looks, because we're not playing that, we're looking at it. If it feels as good as it looks, that's going to be a special game.
Yeah.
I don't know who that bad guy is at the end. They don't reveal, but obviously that's just a clever way of doing it. But like everything about that is like, yep, I shall play this game in 3 months. I shall play this a lot in 3 months. I sort of hope it's not a 40-hourer. I hope it's a nice sort of 12 to 20-hourer. But I think that looks like a long game. But,
it's hard with a game like that because it's just like,
But there's the bad guys that they set them up though, guys. There's like, you're going to fight this one, and then you're going to fight this one, and then you're going to fight this one, and then you're going to get to the big bad at the end. It's going to be I'd say 30, 40 hours, but I'm sort of hoping it's a bit lower.
I do hope so because I'm not sure it's lend to being a really long game. But then again, I thought that about God of War, and I was very wrong about that.
We've held off long enough. The last game we're going to talk about before we have a little break and then come back with Nintendo thoughts is...
What is it, Adam? What is it?
Death Stranding.
That's a good
Death
question.
Stranding, Nicola. What is it? It's a fine question. How do you show 10 plus minutes and have people walking away going, I don't know what this game is still? He's actually taking the piss and people are lapping it up.
They will. It's just purely because it's Kojima. People are just like, I don't care what it is. I just want it.
That's a good job because you're not going to know.
It's just Norman Reedus, the walking simulator. That trailer.
Is it a walking sim? That's the question I had. There's bits of it where it looks like a walking sim. There's bits of it where it looks almost like a Silent Hill version of stealth games. Is there action in it? Then there's a bit where he's sort of climbing around the mountains that looks like it's literally from Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah. It's one of those games that I don't know whether it's going to be really good in the end, and we're all going to look like fools.
Oh, of course.
Or whether it's whether it's just going to be people will lap it up because it's Kojima, and the game is actually garbage. There's nothing to it, but people are just going to but Kojima and all this story. It's I don't.
I have a question for you both, right? Because I have only watched it once. You know how the last trailer had the weird baby thing popping its thumb and all that?
Yeah.
At the beginning of this trailer, does the baby show its arse?
Yeah.
It did, right? I thought I was going mad. Yeah, okay, and that's him. That is his message to his fans. Because I'm sure it didn't show his arse in the last one. That baby shows its arse.
I don't remember.
I want to be excited about this, but I just feel like if anyone else did this, we'd be wiping the floor with him.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I just don't know what it is. I think seeing
it's going to be Metal
Norman
Gear.
Reedus
it is going to be like Metal Gear.
into a video game is pretty cool.
Yeah.
There was a distinct lack of Mads
though.
Mikkelsen in that particular trailer, but
and they announced a new actress, didn't they, at the beginning?
Yeah, Lindsay Wagner. I don't the name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure where from?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I just...
Leia Seydoux, is it? Or something like that. Like, I know her. Like, she's been in a few things. She was in the last Bond film. So she's a fairly big actress, but yeah, I don't think anyone has any idea what's going on. I'm not even sure Kojima knows what's going on.
Given Sony's position as, look, this is not a fanboy thing, it's factual, it's kind of the front runner of this gen. Yeah. I'm actually surprised by the amount of rope they're giving him.
Maybe they're wanting him, so I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but they are spending a lot of money.
Maybe they're fed up with
every
Kojima. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, maybe. But every time he shows this game, there's like a new actor involved, and they don't come cheap. These are actors who aren't just coming and doing voice lines. They're doing the full thing. This is motion capture using Sony's expensive motion capture studios, no doubt. Maybe these actors are all involved with Sony Pictures. I'm sure they are at some point. So there's like back doors, they can get them in at a better rate or whatever. But they're all, nowadays all these people are unionized, so it'll all be certain rates. It's just it bugs me a little bit because while I didn't enjoy not Beyond Detroit, I feel like if David Cage did this game, he would be just savaged, and instead people are like, oh my god, amazing! It's so funny. Is it funny though? Is it funny? Is it good that we're having the piss? I don't want to come down on it because I don't know what game it is. Like you said, Gaz, it could be amazing.
Yeah, I do like the kind of the horror element of it. Like that looked like it could be cool, but again, we don't really know what the gameplay is.
Feels very Cloverfield, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it even suggested a bit of like almost like a Dark Souls kind of thing because it was like if you die, you'll come back. So
even though every time they cut to the black screen with that pretentious dialogue, like I'm telling you now, this is going to be a David Cage situation where it's like, why did nobody edit him?
Yeah.
Listen, it'll get 10 out of 10s to be the best game of all time, and all three of us will be wrong and have to buy and eat hats on camera because I don't know. That was Sony. That was an hour, there or thereabouts. It's hard to rate that one, right? Because
when are these coming out? That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing. Not one of them had a release date apart from Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we know Spider-Man's out in
September,
isn't it? Yeah, I thought it was October. So it's difficult, right? Because all these games look, whatever we feel about Death Stranding, all the other games looked pretty cool and ones I would really love to play right now, but we don't know when they're coming out. And to be fair, they warned us we're going to show 4 games, and we got more than that. We got Resident Evil 2, we got Neo 2, we got Control.
Did anyone else think the format was garbage?
I've forgotten there was another game. There was that Justin Roiland game. What was it called? It had the guy from Rick and Morty. It was.
I can't remember what it's called.
But looks a bit colourful and fun. Really odd placing given the games that they showed. But I'm going to give it a 7 because although I'd like some release dates, we got a load of cool games,
I think 7
Gaz?
as well.
Okay, Nicola, yeah, okay. Gary?
I'm going to go for an 8 purely because of Resident Evil 2. That was the extra point.
Ooh. Yeah, I can't because it's not. Yeah, okay.
Nothing else matters now for me for the next 6 months.
Gary's just there with his lighter in his hand. We're back. Nintendo has happened now. It's just myself, Adam Cook, with Gary Bailey here now. You right, Gaz?
Yo.
We're still rocking, mate. We're still here with the hardcore. The hardest of the hardcore. Not really. It's just E3's very busy. People have things to do. We lost Chris. We've lost Nicola. So Gary and I are going to talk about Nintendo, who opened with Demon Cross Machina, which is out 2019. Marvelous Entertainment developed. That's a mech game.
Is it not Demon Ex Machina? Like the Ex Machina?
I mean,
Deus Ex Machina?
Could be, but wouldn't they then call it Ex Machina rather than X for cross? Because when you see that in a Capcom game, it's cross. So it's like,
Is it not just to be cool? Isn't X cool anymore?
Gazman, I would not have the first thing. I would not know the first thing about being cool. I don't know. But looks interesting. I think I don't, not really my kind of thing, but certainly it's nice to open it with a brand new game.
Yeah, a little bit kind of Zone of the Enders by way of I don't know, like over the top anime.
I mean, I was getting that vibe too, but that's how they opened. Then they showed Super Mario Party, which I'm going to make confession time, I suppose. I quite like the Mario Party games.
Yep.
The thing is, I think this looked really. Did you see? So there was basically there's a tech where you can put switches together to make like courses.
Yeah.
Like that was really cool. They're doing some really awesome stuff. The only thing I would not complain about, but be concerned about, is I kind of hope it's got online, because I feel like my kids have aged out. Well, I might get them like a bit like with what's the game it launched with? The Switch launched with that game.
1-2 Switch.
Yes, like they play that a bit, and then I was kind of left on my own. They kind of want to go and play Fortnite or whatever, like all kids do now, or FIFA or whatever. I feel like it needs an online, but I don't know how that would work, because Mario Party games are quite long.
Yeah, I suppose, and without all the faffing around to talk to people.
I mean, would it lose something online?
You really need to have that, I don't know, like that connectivity kind of thing while you're with people. But, I mean, it might not lose that too much as long as you can speak to them. But, I don't know.
I say you can't, you can.
It's just a... Well, to be fair, you're better off going through something else, not the whole faff of the Nintendo way. But
yeah, I mean, I'm still excited, because I think that when Nintendo have their new consoles and stuff, the creativity involved is like, it's great, and we've seen that with some of the games so far.
Yeah.
And the idea we get a Mario Party which is all creative using the tech, a bit like the way Labo's, like you would never think of it. There it is. It's cool. Still haven't bought Labo, podcast listeners, for the those of you out there who listen for a long time. Then we move on to Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is out spring 2018. Now, I'm rigid at this point. I love the Fire Emblem series. However, maybe it was the compression on the YouTube video. At first I wondered if it was a 3DS game.
Yeah, it didn't look that great. And I know they were, I'm guessing they were going for like the animation style, but when it really dropped the frame rate on like the animations, it was like, ooh, it just looked really jarring.
To me, it was more the textures looked like a lot of some sort of Switch games. They don't have any anti-aliasing.
Yeah,
we'll come to that as a game on the system to talk about in that respect. But and once it kicked into like the battle stuff, it looked much better. I thought like it looked cleaner and brand new. But like the thing is, I'm one of these. I'm all in on the Switch now. I love my Switch. I don't play it as much because I tend to play third-party games elsewhere. So I play it. It's a first-party machine with, I like playing FIFA on the go. Other games, third-party games that I'd like to take with me. Like I'm going to have a go at Paladins actually, because I'm quite, that's a good game to have on the Switch to sit on the sofa with. Get your Overwatch fix. But Fire Emblem is a 3DS series in the same way that the last Metroid was a 3DS, and I kind of want them to start now putting them games on the Switch. This is their handheld and their console under the telly, and this is a good move in that sort of area. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. We then got Killer Queen Black, which is out Q2 2019. Must admit, I think I must have blinked and missed this because I don't know what this is, Gaz.
No, they were saying like, for the first time, blah blah, and all this, like as if it's a game that I should know. I'm like, I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this in my life. It didn't even watching the gameplay. I was like, this. I don't know what this is.
Indeed. So we'll maybe next week we'll chat more about some of these. Maybe we won't. The trailer's out there if you want to get it. A game I did play a bit of, and I'll be honest, I'm ashamed to say I couldn't get past how poor this looked. It's a game I think I would like, and it's ideal to be played on the Switch because you can. Just pick it up and play when you want. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna, the Golden Country DLC is coming September. Mikhail Madani, our news editor, will be absolutely stretching his underpants thinking about this game, this DLC. It's a long game. It's like a 90-hour game, so I'm not going to get to it. But I'm glad that they are doing it, Gaz.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played any of the Xenoblade games, but I believe they're good. And, I know some people really enjoyed the second one, and I don't know, it's kind of nice to see Nintendo doing DLC. Just not just sort of going, here's your massive game,
It's funny you say that, right? Because at first, when this was playing, I was like, wow, they're going to announce a new Xenoblade Chronicles. So removed was I from even thinking, even though they've done it with Mario Kart and they've done it with Zelda and Splatoon's coming, but so removed from that idea am I that I assumed it would be a new game rather than DLC.
You just don't think of Nintendo and DLC yet. I think it's still processing that.
Yeah, well, processing this on their servers because it's out now. Well, it's not actually. At the time we record, this is literally hot off the press conference. The direct. It is available on the US store, which is how I've grabbed it and played a little bit of it. Fortnite Battle Royale is just Battle Royale,
and that's what I didn't wonder, because they didn't sort of specify that on the direct.
This is maybe a chat for another podcast, but I'm getting slightly concerned as someone who likes Saves the World. I'm getting concerned at how they are kind of just not... It's just calling it Fortnite now. It's like, hang on a minute. I had Fortnite when Fortnite was just Saves the World and Battle Royale hadn't even been mentioned.
Yeah.
So can we get back into the habit of calling it Fortnite Battle Royale? I'm the only one there. Anyway, I can't say I've played it.
What's it like?
It's exactly what you'd imagine. It's a low-resolution version of Fortnite. It's above 30 frames, or it's no lower than 30 frames, but it isn't the 60 frames you've got on Xbox One X and PC and PS4. It's definitely a low-resolution version.
Is it closer to the mobile version?
I would say the mobile version's better because the mobile version is high-resolution and 60 frames. This looks better on my phone. But then I have a brand new iPhone because I upgraded, blah, 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 all that shit.
Have you played it on your screen or the...
I've played it on my TV, which is always going to make it look a bit worse because it's a 4K telly, so it is going to be blowing it up a bit. But saying that, I'm playing other games. I can't mention that one because that's embargoed at the time of recording. But I played FIFA 18 this morning, and it was it looks great. It doesn't. What the problem with it is the anti-aliasing. There's none. It's turned off by the looks of it, and that just makes everything have a sort of shimmering, jaggy effect. But the thing is, it's playable.
I was surprised to be. I mean, I know it was talked about before, but the Unreal Engine, I just didn't think the Switch could really do much with.
It runs fine. I will say what this made me realise, thinking about Paladins and that. I've just been saying this on our Discord channel on Patreon. By the way, if you enjoy this podcast, patreon.com/GodIsAGeek. $1 a month gets you the podcast early. This one not so early because it's kind of hot off the presses. But you get extended normally. Again, not this one because it's the E3 special and it's long enough. But we also get a private Discord channel, competitions, loads of stuff, $1 a month. But we were just chatting about Paladins because someone said on there, literally is Paladins actually any good? Because again, people think Paladins is out. What they do with Paladins is they release it paid for early access, then it goes free to play.
Yeah.
So you sort of hang fire. But playing this kind of made me realise I think I know why Blizzard don't put Overwatch. Because Overwatch on this seems like a massive win. Win. But seeing the visual degrade on Fortnite, I don't think, not that Epic I'm saying would or do, but I'm saying I don't think Blizzard would be willing to do that given how, I mean, Fortnite's massive too, but Fortnite makes just so much money, whereas Blizzard is not, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm excited, but it plays well. You could tether it to your phone. But then someone would probably say, well, why don't you just play it on your phone? Well, I like playing with controls. And until Epic enable the Game Voice sort of Bluetooth devices that you can plug into your phone to get controller access. But then at that point, wouldn't you just still be better off putting the Switch in your case and carrying it in your bag or something? Yeah. Anyway, Fortnite is out today. So's Hollow Knight. Just want to mention, don't sleep on Hollow Knight. I forget who reviewed that for us. Was it you?
No, I've still not played it.
I think it might have been Chris. I think it was Chris. Metroidvania-style game, beautiful to look at. Quite hard. Thoroughly recommend it. I will be grabbing this on Switch at some point because I never quite finished it on PC, I don't think. Out today as well. I believe if you're listening to this as a Patreon early, before the Wednesday release, Fortnite should be 10 p.m. Tuesday night, I believe, in the UK, whereas it's out now in the USA because that's the way it works. Dragon Ball FighterZ, a great game. And I will be so interested to see how this hits 60 frames, which it should do as a fighting game. That was just casually announced after being rumoured that that's coming to Switch this year.
I must have missed that bit.
It was literally, they were doing a I think they showed a few trailers, and it was just in there like, this is out, what?
Yeah, there was a few in there, and I was just kind of like, what? You blink and you miss it kind of thing.
Absolutely. And blink and you miss it is not something you could say about the final game on this list, because we then had about 20 minutes of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which we now know is the game name. Now, we knew they were going to talk about this because they have to.
Didn't know they'd be talking about it for quite so long.
Like, I was... At one point, I was like, do you know what? Is this game out in 2 months? Because we've got our June game, that's Mario Tennis Aces. We've got July, Octopath Traveler. I was thinking, this is going to be the August game, because the amount of information dump we got is like, you're leaving nothing... You announce a game, then you have previews on the game, then you have the reviews of the games. That's the cycle. And it's like, there's no point previewing this. You're showing it, everything. And straight after the conference, they went to the Treehouse, and they were showing... I forget the nightmare character, the one in your... I forget.
Ridley.
Yeah, Ripley. Ripley or Ridley?
Ridley, yeah.
Showing my Smash Brothers lack of knowledge, but we got the information that there's, I think, 66 characters there's going to be, at least they've mentioned, because...
sounds right.
Well, there were 64 that have been... Every character from the game ever... Any of the series is in this game. The 65th announcement, I believe, was Inklings from Splatoon, and I did think that's an odd number, so they're going to have to even it up somehow. They might go higher, but because there's going to, I think there will be more characters announced leading up to it, maybe one a month.
They might do
Ridley.
DLC for that as well.
Absolutely, there are definitely characters that could and perhaps should appear, but we've got like Snake's back in it, Pichu's back. Help me, Gary, I'm failing here a little bit. Oh, there was some information like Ryu. Ryu will always face to the right or to the one way, so you can do his
1v1
inputs.
It's always facing the opponent.
That's right.
8 players this time as well.
Yeah,
which
I think you could do 8 on Wii U, couldn't you?
I'm not sure.
Now I'm not sure. Now I said it, but I don't know. I don't know that you and I are the guys to talk Smash for 20 minutes. I don't know.
I was sat there the entire time thinking, this is too much. Why are you telling me about every single character and their moves? And so I'm just like, this doesn't feel like your big like E3 Direct. This feels like it should have just been a Smash Direct like next month or something. I think the thing is, E3 I don't think they care about. Oh no, they don't.
There just happens to be a Direct here.
Yeah, they've kind of started to do, like, I think they concentrate more on the Treehouse rather than the Direct. But, I was sat there for that entire actually, I skipped through a lot of it because I watched it after the fact.
You watched it later, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, I was kind of skipping ahead going like, oh right, okay, they're talking about Smash, the characters, I'll just skip to the end of that. I'm like, that's getting an awful lot close to that end. Like they're still talking about Smash, and they're still talking about Smash, and I'm just like, where is it? we know it. Everyone.
So what are you talking about?
Animal Crossing. Where is it?
See, I wasn't. I was thinking, where's Metroid? They announced that last year.
I'll be honest, I don't think we're going to see Metroid till towards the end of next year.
I think you're absolutely right. This time next year,
because when they announced it, it was basically a case of, all right, we're making it. It was kind of like the Titanfall, the Respawn thing for
and
Jedi.
a bit like the Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield thing.
Yeah, it's basically we're making it, but that's it.
They did. That was it. By the way, I'm not. That was that. They did. That was all they did. That was their Nintendo Direct. But the weird thing for me was that normally they would show a bit more of Splatoon 2's Octo expansion.
Yeah.
Normally they would show a bit of Mario Tennis Aces because it's out in a week or two.
Yeah.
Normally they would show perhaps a bit more Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, the DLC again, but I guess they showed it elsewhere. To me, it felt like an unnatural amount of time to play. I know Smash is their huge thing and everyone wants Smash, but I don't know. I feel like they're hedging.
Us, I think.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't like Smash. It's hugely popular, but I think there's a lot of people that don't like it, and I feel like even using the Direct to show the GameCube stuff, could have been done elsewhere. I don't know what else you could show, but like Animal Crossing, okay. I mean, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, like that was just sort of popped in there as like that's coming as well.
Yeah,
and again, I'm more excited to play that again with the new levels than I am. I will play Smash. I know there are people listening going, "I hate Smash." And I will play Smash. My kids quite like Smash. I will try and get into Smash again. I
like it as like just a party game, but. It's not.
But it's not a fighting game. They called it an action game. They did it. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know why that's important to me. They said it. Now, it wasn't me doctoring the image. They said it on that stream.
Yeah,
and
it's not a fighting game.
It's not.
It just so happens that you are fighting, but it's more of a platform action kind of thing.
I mean, I hate to talk about what they didn't announce because they didn't announce Animal Crossing, and like that is an odd one because I genuinely thought coming into it, Nintendo will announce Animal Crossing, and I did genuinely think we'd get Mario Galaxy and Fortnite as available nows, because I really feel like the way Nintendo are winning with the Switch is that they're listening to what their fans want, and I guess that's where Smash comes in. But Smash is definitely a niche game, and like I'm now at the point where I think I really want Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for Switch, like as a pack, or even separately. They'll do it separately because they can charge more, but I'm at the point where I feel like I don't think that's going to happen now. Yeah. I think it's perhaps past that window. And I feel like that would have been an easy win for them to have as like in the same way they have done with the other definitive editions. Like, I think that window's gone now. And I don't know. Listen, we need to score Nintendo, which is, there's 2 of us out of 20. So hopefully my maths are good. Gary, would you like to do the honours and go first?
4.
Ooh. Goodness. I'm going to go 6 because we kind of all knew but didn't know Fortnite was going to be out today.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for Mario Party and Fire Emblem. And I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC is a big thing for those who love it. Hollow Knight's a great game. And yeah, I'm going to go... I'm going to go 5. I really don't think there was enough non-Smash. Yeah. I really feel like even if they'd have spent a bit of time on... perhaps even showing Fortnite in action or doing something with it, or Mario Tennis Aces talking about their plans, like even if it was like, hey, it's out next week and these are the 6 DLC characters we're going to bring, if they're even doing that, I don't know.
Yeah, but, it's nice that they've done, they have concentrated a lot on what's out this year. I mean, there's been there's a few other bits obviously for next year, and it's not, it's great that Smash is going to be out for Christmas because that'll work. They're not having to worry about Red Dead 2 because it's not the same. It's not.
Sorry, I didn't even say December. Was it December?
Yes, 7th.
Yeah. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is December 7th, so it's right around Just Cause 4 time. In fact, I think it's the same day.
But it's
going to be a busy day.
The Nintendo games don't really compete with that kind of thing. With like Red Dead or Just Cause 4 for, in this case. Because it's just
and Nintendo are their own thing.
Yeah, it's not the same audience. I know there's a crossover, but it's not going to affect its sales. And
so by hook or crook, we have got a winner of E3 here, Gaz. I know you don't like that stuff, and nor do I, but it's fun, and we've done it, we've rated them. I can't really, off the cuff, work out who won and lost, because sometimes there were 3 people, 4 people, and now it's just us. But the clear winner, just by the amount of numbers, is Microsoft's Xbox, because there were 3 of us and we gave it a combined 26 out of 30, which is, an A-, B+.
Yeah, it was a very, very good show,
was.
That one.
I think Sony is second by my maths. Getting 22 out of 30.
Yes. EA. Oh no, that was out of 40. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then actually, we didn't. Yeah, then I think it would be. I think it's Ubisoft. I think then Bethesda, Nintendo, EA, and Square Enix way down the bottom. And now, Gary, I'm going to ask you to give me, if you can, and I won't rush you, we've got time, your personal top 5 games of E3 2018.
Top 5.
Yeah, well, and the trouble is our list is sprawling.
We all know what my number 1 is.
Yeah, I'm gonna pencil that in on this. Apologies for typing, but I'm gonna have to do it. So that's Resident Evil 2 remake for Gary.
Yep. Exactly. I'd go with Forza second.
Forza, okay.
again, another kind of easy one for me.
Yeah, no, fair. It's tricky, isn't it?
Mate, Gears 5, I think, could be third.
Okay, right.
That's one I didn't expect.
Okay, yeah.
I love the Gears games, but for whatever reason, I never have them as like the top tier for me. On a personal level. So for that to be up there, it's like, yeah, I think I'm well in for that one. And you've got Sekiro. That looked very good. I'm kind of scanning the list because my memory's atrocious.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm trying to do the same. I'm literally typing out my possibles, and they seem to be the same as yours.
I think that's a bit of a surprise one for me. I think Assassin's Creed. I know the gameplay didn't look that far removed, but I think because it looked still very un-Assassin's Creed. Yeah. And I'm not a fan of Assassin's Creed, as if you didn't realise that, anyone listening.
No, you did mention at some point, I think.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned it a few times, but yeah.
So whereabouts you put in Assassin's Creed?
I think that'd probably be 5, and I'd go with Spider-Man, I think, number 4.
Okay, I'm just scanning my list. God, I forgot about that game. Okay, sorry, you said Spider-Man in 5th. 4th, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so it's my turn now. I've got a bigger list than you here, haven't I? So on my list of, I feel like there's one more. I feel like I should. There must. I mean, like Devil May Cry 5 in another lifetime would have made it. The Division 2 is damn close to my list, but
Dante, Devil May Cry was kind of up there, but I think I need to see more of it. I need to know that it plays like DMC. I think if it plays like DMC, it could be up there. But if they kind of go too far back the other way, it just, it's not really a thing.
Well, I need your help, Gaz, because I have a list of 7, and I've put them in a rough order of, I think... No, I haven't. Okay.
I would put your number... Oh, well, yeah, there, you've done it.
Do you think that's it? Do you think that, I mean, that's... So in my list, I've got
I'm surprised. I would have thought Sekiro would.
Yeah, I'll read the list of people so they can hear it. But 7th place, I got Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I put that. I'm going to delete it because I said 5, but because I haven't been a huge fan of the games I've enjoyed them, but I haven't been massively sold on them. Yeah. But I really do like the look of Odyssey. I like the route they're going. I like how different it is. I like that it's not an Assassin's Creed game, but it still is an Assassin's Creed game, so it's not quite making my list. I have to get one gone from here. I've got Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Dying Light 2, Spider-Man, Forza 5, Horizon 5, sorry, Resi 2 Remake, and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And I think that my number 1 and 2 are Ori and Resident Evil 2. Yeah. And I think Forza has to be on the list.
I would have said, for you personally, Spider-Man would be the one to go out of that list.
See, I think that is the truth, yeah. I love the look of that game, but I wouldn't have said I was a Spider-Man fan, but I've seen Avengers Infinity War and I've seen Spider-Man Homecoming in the last month and a half or 2 months, and I think that Spider-Man might actually be the best thing about the MCU right now. So it's kind of colouring me, and I could, was it his voice in that game? I couldn't quite tell. It wasn't.
I forget. They did say who was playing him, and I can't think for the life of me who it is.
I do think that game looks amazing. I really do. I think Spider-Man is my number 6. So I'm gonna say it. My number. So Gary's from 5th to 1st. Gaz, if you could read your 5th to 1st, and I'll do mine.
Okay. So should we do it like Bullseye?
Yeah, Bullseye.
In 5, it's Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Again, didn't expect that one.
No, not at all.
In at number 4, it's Spider-Man. Is it Marvel's Spider-Man now? Is it?
It is actually, yeah, you're quite right. It is Marvel's Spider-Man. Is it Marvel or Marvel's? Marvel's.
I think it was Marvel's, yeah. In at number 3, we have Gears 5, because apparently they've dropped the Au revoir, as we discovered earlier, which whether that's, to be fair, I think they called Gears 4 like Gears 4 during the sort of the
but they're
press
definitely
stuff,
called,
but it ended up Gears of
War 4.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. In at number 2 is Forza Horizon 4 because good lord, that game looks glorious. And in at number 1, of course, Resident Evil 2 because just give me that right now.
My list in 5th place, I've got Dying Light 2. I did like that first game, but that second one just looks... It to me looks borderline next generation. I thought I was so impressed with that. In 4, I think I'm a big FromSoft game dude, and I like the look of Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. I'm hoping that Activision might make them put co-op or something in it. We'll see. In 3, I've actually put Forza Horizon 5, which is an unintentional joke to finish on the Walmart, so I will change that, but it's Forza Horizon 4. Same as you, like a big fan of that series. I actually think they're far superior to the mainline Forzas. I'm so pleased that kind of stuff's coming back.
I love the proper Forza games, if that makes sense.
I used to.
But, I say that, 7 was nowhere near as good.
No.
But, the Horizon games are just so much more fun.
They are, and it's you could swap these on any day, but I'm going to go with number 2, Resident Evil 2 remake, because it looks frightening. It looks like Resident Evil again, and it's probably the best Resident Evil. That's a discussion for another day.
I've already had my list.
I know you have. Yeah, I know. Yeah, your list is on God is a Geek. You can see it. But my number 1, and it was always going to be, is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. That first game, I think, is just magical. I would urge anyone to go and buy it on PC or Xbox One, the definitive edition with the DLC.
Is it on sale in the Xbox thingy?
It usually is. I mean, I expect it to hit Game Pass at some point as well. But like that game is. I mean, I don't know how they made it look better, but it does look better. Like I've still not
played Ori. It's one that and Hollow Knight are ones that I need to play. And
Ori's delightfully hard, but just so beautiful. Yeah, so beautiful. And I guess for us, that's kind of E3. We've not sent anyone over there this year, and we've not got anyone freelancing over there. We're trying something new. We've reported as much news as we can. We've done a lot of podcasts. But the truth is, there's still stuff going on. Like, we've got people right now reviewing Mario Tennis Aces. There are other games being reviewed, being covered. It's not going to stop. It's going to slow a little bit. We won't be doing 2.5-hour podcasts every week. I don't think we'll even be doing 2-hour podcasts every week. But as next week... we may have a short week because everyone's worked very hard on E3. Next week we may just do a shorter podcast. We'll see how it goes. Shouldn't be too much news. We could just chat some games, get in and out within an hour. Depends how it goes. We don't put a limit on it. We just go for it.
Well, I suppose we might have an extra bit of the non-gaming for the Patreons next week with us.
Yeah, I mean, I need to talk to you about Infinity War because I saw Avengers Infinity War last...
Yeah.
When did I see it? The weekend, just gone.
I need to talk about Jurassic World as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm hoping... I won't spoil it. We will talk about it, but this first time my family, and I took my mum, it was her birthday, she wanted to see the film, so we went to see Infinity War, and it's the first time any of us have been to the cinema for, I reckon, 10 years. Certainly together, and... I have thoughts and opinions on the cinema-going experience and the film, and the one thing I will say is we enjoyed it so much that we're like, we should do this regularly. So I'm thinking maybe Incredibles 2, because that trailer was... I mean, I love the film. Yeah. And I'm hoping maybe by this time next week I'll have been able to rent Black Panther and watch that too. So might have some Marvel stuff for the Patreon section. But yeah, it's going to be quite a couple of weeks. We have some reviews going up. There's plenty of videos in the bank already... ready to go, so, and of course it's the World Cup, so, I mean, that doesn't really affect God is a Geek too much, but I've just thought I'd say it, because that starts, if you're listening to this as a non-premium subscriber, that starts tomorrow. Gary, thank you for being here for the duration.
You're welcome.
We'll just mention that at the start of the podcast, Chris did sort of just disappear. He just had a bit of a family emergency. Everyone's okay. Everything's fine. But I just wanted to mention that in case people were worried. Nicola couldn't be here for this because we were literally recording after the Nintendo thing. And again, we all have lives, and it's just one of those things. I happen to be available, and Gary happens to be available, so we've done it for you. So thank you, everyone who's been on the podcast today, this episode. Thank you for listening. And again, a reminder that if you go to patreon.com/godisageek for $1 a month, you'll get every podcast that month early and extended. Again, apart from this one, which won't be extended, it's long enough. You'll get early videos, exclusive videos, sort of behind the scenes stuff. We give away loads of codes on there to our Patreons. Like for $1, there's no one we haven't given a code to, so you're getting at least, I'd say, $10 to $15 if you want to go dollars worth for your $1 a month, which is less than £1. And of course, you get access to the private Discord channel. We think it's a good deal. Makes you a premium member, I guess, a premium subscriber to this podcast and our, I was going to say network, but our site. Gaz is at BlueFury47 on Twitter. I'm at GBSF. I'm also at God is a Geek, where we all tweet from. Thank you very much. We hope you have had a wonderful E3. We're going to carry on doing E3 stuff, but for the podcast, that's the E3. We'll still be ruminating on it next week, I suspect.
Don't we just love video games, though?
Video games Christmas has been wonderful. I tell you what, Gaz, honestly, this year I had culled my Twitter feed because I've had enough of people ruining everything I like. So I have had the best E3 in years because I didn't spend 6 weeks doing spreadsheets and scheduling. And we'll see how that goes when we see the traffic reports. That might be a sword I fall on for a bit, but we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes you just have to roll with the punches. I was going to do the lyrics to the song, but I can't remember the rest of them. Gary, thank you very much for your time. We're delirious. It's been a long pod. It's been a long week. And I didn't even stay up. Thank you very much for your continued support. Thank you for listening. We love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye-bye. We'll see you next time.
Bye.